Crystal Palace National Sports Centre, baked in sunlight in South London, as we welcome you inside ahead of the Mari Women's Super League semi-final number 2. We've already seen the Mallory Eagles UBL advance to the final, and now we get a chance to see who will join them, as we have two of the big hitters. Team SIDEOUT Polonia and the Essex Rebels about to square off inside for a right to win the national championship. We know a new name is on the crown. Durham Platinums, last year's champions, did not make it, but both these sides have Final Four experience, and they are looking to close out the title. Michael Hanson-Morris, and as much as Crystal Palace is famous for the beach, we've dragged someone in from the sunny outside to join me. AJ, back from Australia, delighted to have you up in the commentary booth for this one.
Thank you so much, Michael. Yeah, great to be. Well, I'd say great to be here, but when I can see the sun right outside the windows, it's hard to say it's great to be inside. But
and the sandy courts.
Exactly. But with a beautiful centre such as this, I can't really complain. Being up top, prime seating to watch a hell of a game.
Yeah, these two sides got plenty of history, plenty of battles, and they, more importantly, split the regular season. SIDEOUT winning in December 3 sets to 0, 26-24, 25-19, 25-18. But less than exactly 4 weeks ago today, in Essex. Essex close it out 3-2, 21-25, 25-17, 23-25, 25-11, and then a 17-15 fifth set that put Team SIDEOUT Polonia into position number 2 for the playoffs and forcing this to be a repeat matchup. So we're in for a barnstormer.
We are indeed. I think, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? I think we just want to see Essex get a foot in the door, but we're going to have a hell of a game either way. SIDEOUT, such a powerful team. I will admit I've not watched loads of the Super League this year because, as you said, I am fundamentally a beach player, but it is going to be absolutely wicked. Any favourites?
You never know with these two times. Obviously, in the podcast we talked about SIDEOUT, but I think the experience of them in the Final Four is important. But Essex were here last year, got reverse swept for the bronze medal. But this is a group that won the Bucks National Championship 2 weeks ago. Speaking to Alex Chinnery in the build-up, he's given his time a bit of time off after that Bucks Championship, but full of confidence. And I think you know as much as anything, a player, when you're feeling like you're playing your best volleyball at the end of the season, you think anything is possible.
That's exactly it. Anything is possible, especially when you're coming into a game top of your fitness and with a crowd. I think players want to play at their absolute best.
As we see the captains at centre court working with the referees, the all-important coin toss, and it looks like it was won by SIDEOUT Polonia as the starting libero for Mark Kontopoulos' side, Alara Yilmaz, winning that ahead of Chelsea Simmons, and it'll be that start. So obviously we've already seen semi-final number 1, strong victory for Mallory Eagles over London Lionhearts Vilnius. Important for Mallory to get it done in 3 sets as well. Bit of rest and recovery for tomorrow, because we know with these two sides it could be a long one, and that will then favour Mallory a little bit for perhaps the final tomorrow, whoever comes through this.
That's exactly it. I think all teams in semi-finals want to get it done as quickly as possible. When you're short on time in an event such as this, those extra 2 sets can make the world of difference coming into tomorrow.
So AJ, we talked about the matchups. Obviously, looking at that first game in December, the thing that probably jumped out, SIDEOUT didn't have a good passing day. Passed a 1.8, but turned it into a 234 hit. So how much confidence does that give them that even though we know when they're not quite flourishing with passing, they're not quite getting the ball in the area, that they can still succeed offensively?
Well, I think it's one of the biggest things to speak of for a team on how well they can convert on out-of-system plays, because there's a phrase, everyone's a hero in the hitting lines, and when you're in system, you're effectively in a hitting line. And it's very impressive to bounce a ball, but if your team can do something when you've been pushed out of system and been put under pressure, it not only inspires morale in your team, but it also starts to weaken the mental of the other team, because they start trying to find harder and more tricky solutions, start trying to push steeper, push deeper, and that's when mistakes start happening.
And mistakes happened in that game number 2. Team SIDEOUT, 59 errors across the 5 sets, hit a 0.068. So flipping that round for Essex, how important is it that they got the confidence that they can slow this SIDEOUT team down, because we know how dangerous an offensive team Mark's sides always are.
Well, that's exactly it. Mark really, really believes in such a strong, powerful offense, and if Essex can just keep the ball alive, defense wins championships. Another phrase to be coined.
Indeed. So talking about SIDEOUT, we'll delve into their season a little bit more right now. 15-3. 47 points, the same amount of points as Mallory Eagles, but Mallory edged it out by 2 sets to take the number 1 seed into the playoffs. But this is a team that have been ravaged by injuries. Carla Mully has missed time, amongst others. Obviously, they lost the starting opposite, Sydney Booser, who was a star at Final Four last year with an ACL injury. They lost Agnes Veneza 2 weeks ago in the semi-final. Talking with Coach Mark, she's already had surgery on what seemed like a pretty serious knee injury. So the fact that SIDEOUT have been able to maintain consistency despite a rotating set of hitters, how impressive was that for you through the regular season?
Ridiculously impressive. It shows that the bench is very, very deep, and they're not just a one-trick pony. If you can keep a team and then rotate the hitters pretty freely, then it's never going to be a problem. If you have full confidence in your bench players, then you know you're on for a winner.
Yeah, indeed. And obviously, experience in this team as well. You can see them warming up. Obviously, the Final Four experience last year didn't go the way they wanted, losing it in 5 And obviously the big talking point coming out of that game was the injury to setter Merv Aiken in the summer. Obviously she came out of that game in set 4. And talking with her in the week, she talked about, didn't overthink it, but felt like there was some unfinished business. She didn't get to close it out last year with the team. So how important is that when one of your leaders is so fired up for a big event?
Well, I think massively so. If you're the emotional kind of control tower of your team and you're fired up for your team to take a win, I think that morale just kind of drip feeds into everyone else. I mean, you don't come to a game or a tournament to lose, but if your leader and the person who you look to for support is the most fired up, then I think everyone will be amped up and prepared to play their best volleyball.
And obviously I got to talk with Coach Mark in the build-up to this, and I think that the biggest change for him this year was the coaching staff. Having a bit more addition. We know Bin's around, we know Bin's going to game plan, but never made training, but he's had extra help this year on the coaching side. And you know as a coach as well, a little bit yourself, like how important it is having a coach dynamic, being able to bounce different ideas off, and you've kind of seen that as the team evolved, how that kind of partnership worked, but it's allowed the team to grow as well because you've got multiple really dynamic coaches looking at different viewpoints. It's challenged Mark to be better, and I think for a coach like Mark, he said how enjoyable this season's been.
Yeah, and I bet it has been, because having high-level coaches beside you not only allows that difference of perspective to be reaching your players, but it also means that you're able to have a bit of that mental load taken off you and you can focus on other things. So as you said, Mark's kind of improved and been challenged a lot, and I think having dynamic coaches that are helping share the load means that he'll have learned things maybe about his coaching that he's never really realised before. But Mark is semi-royalty in the world of UK volleyball. We'll say that. I mean, when you think of UK volleyball and high level, you do think of Polonia. So,
indeed, obviously he's joined with Christian Kowalski and Sam Sorsky on the bench. As we'll now flip it over and talk about our number 3 seed, the Essex Rebels, head coach, of course, by Alex Chinnery. For the Rebels, obviously, we talked about missing out last year, but 14-4. 14-4 on the season, 40 points, only dropping 20 sets, and obviously that Bucks Championship a big part, but what we've seen with this Essex team is diversity. They've had success from the middle, they've had access from the opposite, but it's an experienced group. A lot of them entering their final years of university students. So how much is that cohesion but also experience really helping this Rebels team grow?
Well, I think massively. It's, again, Essex, I have not watched too much, but knowing that they're all final year uni students, that changes not only kind of the cohesion of the team because they can bond in different ways, being always in that environment together, but also the youth on their side means less injury prone, probably going to look at some slightly more dynamic and strange plays, some things that are maybe less textbook that we're looking at. So I'm very, very excited for this game to kick off and see what both teams have to offer.
And obviously diverse attack. A couple of players with beach backgrounds as well. Obviously Alice Jagielska on the side outside. She's going off to Pepperdine just to specialise in beach. So I know we'll talk about her a little bit. But for Essex, talked about strength in depth for side out. Obviously the big choice for Alex Jr. in the week was the decision over the second middle spot. Would he go with Catherine Tolley? Would he go with Saskia Freda-Schoffer? And he went with the experience of Cat Tolley. Obviously England debutant in the Four Nations in the summer. But how nice is it to see some of those British homegrown players developing through the system and being able to flourish in big events like this?
Massively so. I mean, I think we can owe a huge thanks to kind of how Volleyball England is progressing the whole of volleyball, and in part the Bello brothers. I think the Bello brothers have done a massive thing for the kind of bottom level of volleyball, and I think the systems we've got in place to bring up these youth volleyball players is better than we've ever had. You're seeing a lot more youths that are a lot more technically skilled than we've seen and kind of coming through, and it speaks volumes now seeing homegrown players in these Super League teams, which used to be fundamentally dominated by players who had kind of moved here from other countries where the volleyball standard's higher.
Indeed. And obviously the standout point for the Rebels is service pressure. We're going to talk about it a lot throughout the game. This is a team that will go big and try to apply pressure. They have 5 of the top 12 in error rate. But how important is it to put this side out team under pressure and try and get them out of system?
Well, it's like we said earlier, side out are one of those teams that can start making solutions when they're out of system, but it's still something that will take a massive mental toll. And if you let them be in system, of course, you're going to get absolutely swept. So I think Essex is going to have a really, really big focus on serving really hard and getting players to be very uncomfortable and tire them out quickly.
So as always with our big games, we're now going to have a little bit of a look at our ones to watch. And for Team SIDEOUT Polonia, we'll start with the outside from Luxembourg, Carla Mully. Missed out on that game in March due to injury. Had a 6-8 week spell on the sideline, but just looking at some of her numbers, serve rating of a 203, serve reception 205, had 117 kills in just 12 games. Big hitter, lots of experience coming in. How important is she going to be to this operation on the offensive end, bearing in mind how much they struggled without her last time?
I think it speaks for itself. The stats don't lie, do they? But I think what SIDEOUT's going to have to be mindful of is if she's back at 100% and how often they can use and abuse that kind of weapon that they've got on their side. So we'll see. I mean, we'll really see, I think, early on how well she truly has recovered from that injury in March, because March is a short time ago to be coming back from an injury, but you can't miss it.
Yeah, I did actually catch up with Carla in the week, and she said still a little bit of rust, but she feels confident. But we will flip it over to the other side, and we'll have a look at the Rebel side. And tough decision, but we've looked at Taya Shamblin, kind of the leader of this pass unit, second in the Super League in serve reception. But the offensive game's really flourished. Start of the year was a bit of a struggle, but really started to grow into it. Say 185, but you look at the last month or two, it's really a 250, a 260. So how important is her emergence going to be for this SIDEOUT team to find different weapons and ways to kill the ball?
Well, I think looking at her serve receive rate, that is a ridiculous number, and especially if it's improved over the last few games, she's going to be one of those players where they're in a bit of a pickle. She can start applying pressure defensively by just taking more space and allowing other hitters to kind of not have that mental burden of, oh, I've got all this space to take. So I think she's massively one to watch. If she's passing that well and continues it into today, it's going to be a very hard thing for SIDEOUT to avoid her. So
against the SIDEOUT a couple of weeks ago, she passed a 2-1-2 on 26 receptions, 13 digs, but hit a 229 on nearly 50 attempts. So the big part of the game plan in that game from Alex Ginnery to try and push the ball out to her. On the flip side, Colin, we missed the first game, the second game, but the first game of the season, she hit a 440 on 13 kills on just 25 swings, which is why she'll have a big integral part of this SIDEOUT offense. Out the two teams are about to head on to court. We'll bring you starting sevens in a second. As the crowd filling up nicely, AJ, and such a nice time to have the London community coming out and supporting.
That's exactly it, and I expect tomorrow we're going to see even more people here. I mean, ticket sales were through the roof, weren't they?
Indeed they were, expecting over 400 here at the Crystal Palace National Sports Centre. And we first of all welcome our officials onto the floor. And for this game, they are, first referee is Carl Pediacci, and he'll be assisted by Giordano Maracci. As we are first of all going to welcome Team SIDEOUT to the floor. Of course, we already talked about head coach Mark Kontopoulos, and their starting unit are about to be welcomed onto the floor by our MC Stan, and they're led out by the starting libero, number 10, Alara Yilmaz. And then the rest of the group, the one decision Mark had to make where he'd go with the middle position. He's gone with number 1, Abby Russell, and she'll be joined by 3, Mother Aiken. Number 5, we talked about her, Carla Mully. Number 12, Alice Jagielska. Number 18, Yulia Tokarenko. And number 25, the 18-year-old Valeria Busquets. That is your starting 7 for Team SIDEOUT. And the middles have got a big part to play in this game. Chana Slurp Haney, but we talked about the blocking as well that they're going to provide. A really established blocking unit despite being a little bit younger, especially with Valeria Busquets. Essex Rebels, the second team to be introduced. And they'll be led out by their captain at center position, number 9, Chelsea Simmons. And then she'll be joined by number 10, Leah Borovec. Number 13, Julia Haney. Haney, another one that missed the game in March. Big hitting middle, but the integral part of the Rebels blocking unit. 45 blocks on the season for Haney. Number 22, Kat Tolley. Big number 47, Alexis Diaz-Infante, the emotional leader for the Rebels, and their starting libero, the ever-present Madoka Weldon. And both teams about ready to go. AJ, where's this game going to be won and lost?
For SIDEOUT on the attacking end, and for ESSEX on the recycling and reuse of balls. I think SIDEOUT are going to just try and put the foot on the gas pedal for the first 3 sets and not let ESSEX get a foot in the door. If ESSEX get a foot in the door, then they are a scary team to be contended with.
And 49 block touches for the Rebels middles last time out against SIDEOUT. That's a way to slow an offense down. Can you do that recycling? Madoka Weldon too eager to get on court. She'll head in to the back row. And we're about to get underway in semi-final number 2. Merva Aiken, the setter, pseudo service line 95.5% success rate, 25 aces, lead SIDEOUT. And she is about to get underway as she's taken the wrong ball. So quick delay in play. Last time out when the two sides met, had 17 serves, but more importantly, 35 assists on 124 attempts. She'll want that percentage to go up as we are underway. Semi-final number 2, and then immediately an ace going straight at Taya Shamblin. She makes the error, and a perfect start for SIDEOUT. So Aiken low to net, going at Borek in the front court rotation. Diaz-Infante cross court, straight to Aiken on defense. Jagielska. Simmons will go underhand. Miscommunication. Shambling just about gets it over the top of the net. Molly will wait on it. Block touch for the Rebels. Rebels finally get a comfortable system. Borek goes tip and finds the floor. Smart early hit by Borek.
That's what we love to see. And we saw Mully just get caught up a little bit there and didn't maybe get to the full extent of her jump. And we can't know, it's too early. Is that still the injury kind of like tweaking about, or is that she just didn't quite get her feet back enough to make a good approach?
Yeah, and trying to get some
ESSEX just asking questions right now. It's early in the first set, but ESSEX asking some questions.
Diaz-Infante back on the service line. Tight tip. Molly stays with the tip. Haney on the slide. Big one-handed dig by Tokarenko, but the ball sailing out. But that's what we've seen so much from ESSEX. The ability, the variety of the middle attack there. Haney on her favourite slide early on.
Yeah, and amazing to see Tokarenko still get a stab on a ball moving that quickly, but she just couldn't get the handle to bring it back in, the 9x9s.
So Diaz-Infante, serve rating of 184 on the season, finds Tokarenko. Jagielska has to wait on it. Diaz-Infante with the defense, underhand, puts it over first touch. Molly cross court. Diaz-Infante block just goes long.
And I think SIDEOUT were looking for that ball being down, and I thought it was too, but it was amazing to see Jagielska on that first ball. She's really using that beach skill set to her best. She made such a fantastic adjustment on a set that wasn't perfect and still put ESSEX really under pressure, which set Mully up.
From the left side as well, rather than her what's become more natural opposite role for this team. Borek again being looked at in serve receive, will get it back and squeezes it through the block of Russell and Tokarenko. Tokarenko apologises, but Leia Borek with 2 early kills. And the Rebels with a 1-point lead in what we think will be a tight game. The chat seems to agree. 55% of you going with the Rebels. Get your thoughts in the YouTube comments. Any questions as well? We'll try and get some throughout the stream. It's Jagielska beats Haney. And a good early settling swing for Jagielska, seeing the ball hit the deck.
And this young lady's got such fantastic athleticism. And I mean, we've touched on beach a couple of times. I'm sure we will more. You won't get away from it. But
well, you won't.
No, you won't either because I'm here. But yeah, that athleticism is really just kind of doubled indoors when you come off the sand. So she must be feeling absolutely amazing. As
something happened, a little bit of an early serve. I was just looking at some of mine. Oh, 2 balls in play. Eye roll from Alex Chinnery. He's immediately speaking to head of referees Nick Heckler, just to our right, standing. Poor Nick, even on a day off, he can't get helped as Haney thought about the slide. They go Diaz and Fonte on the pipe. That's over on one, so Haney has to play some defense. Chamberlain goes line and beats the block.
Yeah, really nice thing to see. Again, as we were talking about Essex being a heavy recycling team, I mean, Diaz and Fonte absolutely wellied it from the backcourt, but it was dug over, and then they just kind of gently recycled it and were patient with it and spotted a gap, filled it.
So Haney to serve goes to Tokarenko. Middle attack for Busquets, and wasn't the cleanest connection off the hand, but actually that little cut on it found the floor. We're tied up at 4, and the youngster from Barcelona getting on the board early. As Alice Jagielska back to serve. Obviously will be part of the under-18 National Cup final later as well. That's going to be a long Sunday for her, but she'll worry about that down the line as Diaz and Fonte goes line and beat Yilmaz one-on-one.
Big, big swing. Yeah, just great turn, inside-out shoulder action to really pin that lib. And again, Essex, probably have spoken about this before, they are just asking some serious questions, and that one, directed at the lib, answered probably in a way that they hoped to see.
Diaz and Fonte, 11 kills in the matchup a couple of weeks ago. Busquets on the slide. Anything Juliet Haney can do, Busquets can do as well. In fact, we may have an overrule here. Referees are communicating. No, we don't.
Yeah, I think ball was down, point was won before the collision with the net, but yeah. Essex were looking for it. But yeah, that head referee just overruling it, saying this is what I saw, and she may have, but the ball was down.
Obviously the referee's mic'd up as well, so they can talk to each other without having to run across the court. As Yulia Tokarenko with the serve, Borek to a knee. Diaz and Fonte from the left side. Little bit of a roll shot. Pipe for Tokarenko off the hands. Simmons gets the first touch. Alex Chinnery looking for the 3-meter line violation. Referee's not happy with it. Mully into the block, finds the sideline. Kat Tolley with it. Teaming up with Chamberlain. And great symmetry from the two blockers to line up and close the angle. As ball recycle, Mully again, seeing a lot of touches early, and that off the antenna. Again, maybe a little bit of rust from Carla Mully early on. They did scrimmage London Lionhearts last weekend, help get out of that, and obviously played against Leeds Gorse in the National Cup semi-final, as well did the Luxembourg International.
Yeah, but scrimmages and training, such a different environment to this, where music's pumping, adrenaline's also pumping, and there's fans watching. I think it'll take more than a few points in the first set to shake that rust off.
As Tokarenko brings Aiken to a knee. Mully from the 3-meter line. I don't think that touched the block. Indeed it didn't. It was into the net. So a third error for side out. And the Essex Rebels, you talked about needing to get off to a strong start. There we see it. As Chamberlain gets Yilmaz to an Aiken back set for Busquets. Another little slide. Simmons with the dig. Diaz and Fonte just about enough room before the front row of the bleachers, but free ball for side out to work with. Aiken again going to spray it out to Mully off the top of the block of Kat Tolley. And this time Carla Mully able to find the kill.
There we go. And she just found that really fast arm. She saw the block hadn't quite connected and found that symmetry again, and she just found that way through the middle. Burst through the door. Hopefully, the start of really shaking that rust off.
Busquets forcing Weldon back. Chamberlain from the 3-meter pipe. Beats Jagielska away to her right. A little bit flat-footed in the setup, but good angle. As Kat Tolley's much improved on serve later in the year. Mully goes tip. Simmons able to play it, but out of system. Obviously, Tolly setting with no libero on court. Yilmaz sprawling to her left. Aiken cannot get there, and that's really where you want your setters. You want setters to make an early call. They're not going to get there and allow the outsides and opposites to clean up.
That's a heartbreaking thing to see, especially Mark. Yeah, and tea time is called. Mark will have been a bit frustrated with that. I mean, that was just lack of comms. Setters got the wheels to get there, but I think you've got to be louder than that. Start making these early calls and get your teammates to help you out.
So timeout. Essex Rebels lead 10-6, and ADA, obviously you can see the tendency right now from SIDEOUT early. They're trying to go to Carla Mully a lot. Is there a potential opportunity here that the ball's not quite spreading out enough and getting the others involved to get them settled in the game?
I don't know. I don't know. I think the game plan is probably to get Carla Mully in first and trust that she can get through. I mean, I know she's got pretty rich history playing volleyball. I mean, I think she faced off against my partner when she played in Luxembourg a few years back, and she said she's an insane player. So I think the game plan will be get her involved, make sure that she is the one to watch, and then we can get the others back in the game and get them.
Yeah, and obviously when you've got a top 10 leader in efficiency as well, always someone you're going to go to, despite missing those games, still also in the top 20 in attempts, over 300 swings on the years. Tolly goes back to Mully, and that's your middle playing defense. Gav Tolly unable to get there to her right. If that was a libero, you know that's going to be a good pass, but good recognition from Mully to see that Kat Tolly had slide to 6, not to 5, and trying to attack that defensive rotation. So full rotation complete. Essex Rebels lead 10-7.
Nice pass.
Great pass by Shamblin as Borovec swings into the net. But those early nerves from Shamblin we saw on that first error.
Yeah, Shamblin's made a couple of serve-receive errors, but that is her showing why she's got such a high serve-receive percentage, because that pass, beautiful. She found that stability even while falling, even while moving sideways.
Aiken, Shamblin takes it off Borovec. Haney down the middle finds the right shoulder of Merva again, but she can't do anything about it. And Julia Haney, that's her at her best.
And this is what we spoke about earlier. I said that Shamblin would be trying to take that extra space, trying to just take a little bit of pressure off her team, and she made that call early, and it was an awkward place to take a pass from, and she still just dimed it, and you could see quick conversion from Essex.
And that's why Chelsea Simmons, one of the more effective setters in the Super League. She's been battling all season long with Aiken at the top of the charts as Mully hits that one cross court, and that one stayed hit.
Yeah.
Beautiful angle. And nothing you can much do on the defense on the opposite side of the floor. And it'll be Mully getting the next touch. Shamblin taking that one. Borovec cross court. Yilmaz with the dig. Tokarenko is going to force Mully to give up the free ball. Diaz-Infante puts her name on it. Slide for Haney, finds the floor. And what an angle that was from Haney. You see so often the slide goes cross court, AJ, but watch the angle of the line instead.
Yeah, and you can see USA written all over that slide hit. She's so powerful, so dynamic when she moves, and she just really made that really horizontal transition off that 1 foot. And obviously, blockers are going to be hard-pressed to chase that down.
Haney hitting 375 on the year, just behind Grace Lazard, who had a strong performance for Mallory in their win over Lionhearts as a double touch. Abby Russell, unfortunately, taking it away from her setter, who was got to her knee and felt like she was going to be able to play that off the floor. But Essex have done a really good job of rotating what they're doing with swing, sometimes mixing it up really well. Jagielska inside from the opposite position, down the more middle into the gap, and great swing by Alice. And you can see here how far inside she came to take that ball and able to fire over the top of Haney.
Yeah, just getting OT on that block is kind of crazy. Just moving that block around as well, not allowing them to find a consistent rhythm. And Jagielska obviously so powerful at the top, finding the floor.
Diaz-Infante from the pipe, misses the baseline. But twice we've seen in that rotation them trying to set Diaz-Infante the opposite down the pipe. She has a background as a middle, and you can see that coming through, but this time not able to connect as Abby Russell aces Leia Borovec.
And look at that, that's just subtle change of their service tactic. They're trying to keep Shamblin really out of the game. They've noticed that she's taking all the passes on that left side, so they just pin someone else.
18th ace on the season for Abby Russell. Beach background as well for the University of Arizona, and she aces Borek a second time in the row.
And now we're all locked up, 13-13. We've got a game on our hands.
Indeed we are. So the Rebels lead early on, nothing, nearly a third ace. Well able to get to it. Haney off the top of the net cord. Good defense by Russell in position 6. And goes over the top of the block. And Essex going to talk it over. Big service run by Abby Russell.
Yeah, and you can't teach that. You can't teach height, but yeah, amazing turnaround from SIDEOUT. They've managed to take the lead now after, as you said, Essex leading by so much so early. It's now looking like a very different set with kind of the momentum shifting in the way of SIDEOUT.
Yeah, and Abby Russell coming in. Was 11th in the Super League in serve rating. That's going to help push, back-to-back ace is going to help push her into the top 10. And a smart time out by Alex Chinnery as the momentum the Rebels had early just kind of faded. That's the crowd getting into it. And referee Carpeducci just talking to SIDEOUT about something, maybe just trying to speed them up out of the timeout a little bit perhaps. As Russell back to serve. Well done. Simmons way off court. Free ball given up by Diaz Infante. SIDEOUT looking to attack. Busquets nearly went under it. Simmons with the attempt to dump. Good touch by the SIDEOUT block. Free ball row for the Rebels this time. Chamberlain goes cross court. Russell with the middle defense, and Jagielska rolls it into the net, but big dig by the middle Abby Russell. And again, Essex starting to not find easy points. And we are tied up at 14 apiece.
This is what we spoke about. If Essex keep patient, stay diligent and recycle, they start winning points and forcing pressure.
Haney, Aiken, Tolley and Chamberlain somehow keep the ball alive. Jagielska into the block. Pancake by Borek, but not after the ball caught the floor. Great attempt by the outside, but couldn't quite get that.
And great vision by the ref, because these teams are trying to argue it, but both balls have definitely been down, but they've been so close that some might miss it, but wicked eyes have our referees.
Jagielska. Chamberlain off the service, touch off the block. Yilmaz with a big touch, but Rebels in system. And Tolley into the block. And Weldon can't make the cover. And SIDEOUT able to sit on it. And Alex Chinnery wanting something, I'm not quite sure what.
And this is huge, just getting up there and stuffing that. And that was made from that defensive effort in the back, seeing that scoop from the lib and seeing it come back over, and then Tokarenko just patient.
So Yilmaz, the captain, has just been spoke to. I wonder if they're worried about something on the screening. Yeah, it looks like screening. So Tokarenko's going to change to make sure she doesn't pick up the violation. Good proactive refereeing as Chamberlain, quick ball, going to get it back into the top of the net. Corvée didn't say a touch, but Busquets trying to find the kill. Tolley on the defense. And SIDEOUT take control of the rally. Can they finish it off? Tokarenko can.
Just a cannon from Yulia Tokarenko. Nice dig. Not too bad placement. And then Tokarenko, just like a steam train. Doesn't need to be super fast on that approach. Takes her time. Slow to fast. And then just massive arm. Top of the reach. Really good biomechanics.
Third in the league in efficiency. Hitting 320 coming in. Been quiet earlier. Simmons able to rescue it. Chamberlain's trying to go deep. Mully plays it. I think that was going long. But she'll rescue it. Give up the free ball. Good appreciation for the crowd for the hustle. Chamberlain steps in.
Through the uprights. Chamberlain, third time of asking, but she gets it. And again, huge defensive effort from SIDEOUT, but Chamberlain straight through the middle of the sticks. That's a field goal.
Yeah, obviously going against the setter as well. You know, the outside, the middle is going to be late. You need to take those Keys as looks like potential subs coming for side out as Mark goes to the bench. Busquets again on the slide, well blocked up by the Rebels. Diaz Infante being quiet. Jagielska off the left foot.
Unreal.
A joust at the net. Tokarenko going to get it back into the block. Another touch. Love a long rally. Well done from behind the 3-minute line. Diaz Infante goes off speed. Jagielska more defense. Another set. Tokarenko. Longest rally of the game. Shamblin goes lefty. Another free ball. Simmons. Diaz Infante into the block, but not in court for Tokarenko, and Rebels win a big one for momentum.
That's huge. Long rallies like that do so much for the morale of the team, and seeing Diaz Infante, seeing that Tokarenko hand just drop back a bit, taking it off the hand, unreal. What a play.
So it'll be Chelsea Simmons, the setter, back to serve, leading the Rebels in aces at 32, second in the Super League. Not going to get one there, but side out will get what they wanted. Tokarenko off the hands of the block on the cut angle cross court.
And Tokarenko has a wealth of experience in the Super League, and I think she's going to really show it off this game. She's not our one to watch, but she's definitely one that should be watched because she is experienced and deadly.
You might be foreshadowing what might come tomorrow. We'll see how this game evolves, and she'll head back after winning the point to the service line. Diaz Infante into the block of Busquets, and that ball sailing over the cover and finds the floor. Great play by the youngster again, teaming up with Aiken on the block.
Amazing. She just made that early read. She knew where it was going and started that shift early, shifted her body weight, and then got across, closed it out.
Tokarenko, Shamblin, not a great pass, going to get it back just inside the line, goes over Jagielska, big cover play by Tokarenko to get there. Mully goes off speed, well read by Weldon. Diaz Infante from the right side, off the hands of the block.
And Diaz Infante, she's been asking that question down the line all set, and I think she's going to continue asking it until an answer is provided. She's scoring pretty ruthlessly on that swing with the inside-out shoulder.
So, change inside out in the back row. They're going to give Tokarenko off and go with one of their defensive specialists, Kanako Hayashi, wearing 16. So she's gone in as Shamblin nearly misses the net on a serve. And that will allow a serving sub as well. So Mark using the bench as Valeria Busquets going to take a break, and in comes the serving specialist, Carrie Millard. And you see by the angle, she's one of the more tricky ones to read. She's really grown into this role for side out. She's going to take kind of a curving run up, and it's a low arm, normally flat across the net. Pushes it towards Weldon. It's going to be a low ball. Shamblin tries to dig corner. Millard able to get there, and they'll set up Mully. Weldon with the one-handed keep alive. Back set. Russell on the slide. Huge swing, Abigail
huge.
Russell.
And Jagielska, great footwork in the back. She's making a lot of defense. You see it here. She just scuttles around. And this slide, again, so dynamic. Going OT deep into that cross where there's no one home.
And the mid-rally slide, not the easiest thing to call and be on the same page for, but Russell made the call out. As Miller goes float to Borovec. Reverse set. Diaz Infante, huge swing.
He is happy with that. That was all floor, no touches. An absolute powerhouse swing from Diaz Infante. Yeah, that middle just kind of struggling to get across quite quickly enough. And if Diaz Infante sees that, she is going to capitalize. That was a wicked swing.
So 21-18 for side out as Emily Priestley into the game for Kath Tolley as a serving sub. Priestley 188 serve rating on the year, 90% success, has kind of grown into this serving sub role. Wasn't her role to start the season, but she's earned her place in the rotation as Mully, perfect pass, readjustment by Russell, mid-air, right hand fake, left hand poke. And Abby Russell has had a tremendous set number one.
Yeah, I don't know how she got a handle on that. Just such great ball awareness and body awareness. Throwing up that right, realising it's drifted past her and grabbing it with the left.
Don't lie, you know why, and the answer's beach background. As Merve back to serve, second rotation complete, side out 22-18. Make that 23. Hello, Alice Jagielska. We are going to see that again. No doubt about it. Absolute stuff.
Look at how high and just she hangs in the air. Again, humongous athleticism on show from this young lady in this first set. All smiles. She can't quite believe how good a block that was.
Zaire Garrett will replace Borek after that monster block. The American wearing number 1 for the Rebels. And she'll be immediately tested on serve receive. Going to get it back from a tough angle. Big cross court. Yilmaz sends it out. Mully keeps it alive.
And so the second ref's going to blow the whistle saying she ran into the opposition's territory on the way through the net.
Yep. No complaints from side out when they got the explanation. Officials all over that. But Rebels need a service run right now, trailing by 4. Late set number 1. And it's Alexis Diaz-Infante back to serve. Yilmaz takes it tight. And they're going to give it to the Rebels. A little bit of an overpass, and it's probably one where, with a DS in the back row in Hayashi, you can probably let her take that serve receiver. I'm trying to take that off. If it was Tokarenko, you maybe understand Yilmaz taking it, but maybe forgetting the defensive sub on the court as Diaz-Infante into the net, and that'll bring up set point for side out, and Tokarenko back into the front row. So, Carla Mully with a chance to close it out on serve. Goes, Diaz-Infante has to play second touch, and it's a free ball for Shamblin. She'll try and take some pace off Russell. Diaz-Infante, big pickup. Shamblin really passive from the back line. Another free ball given up. Tokarenko cross court. Diaz-Infante with the block, going to be tight. Russell and Simmons battling at it. Mully from the pipe finds the angle and wins set number 1 for side out, 25-20, having trailed 6 points to 10. And a big set for side out. With that slow start, they'll be delighted to win that one.
And about midway through that first set, we saw the percentage on our live chat of Essex Rebels going up to 60, and now we've seen it drop to 54. So maybe the fans are changing their opinion on what's going to be the outcome of this game.
We will have a quick break here on comms. We'll rejoin you shortly for set number 2. But set number 1 in this Mari Women's Super League semi-final, game number 2, has gone to the team side out Polonia, 25-20 over the Essex Rebels. Well, and welcome back to Crystal Palace. The crowd doing the Macarena, but it'll be side out. The happy of the two sides winning set one, 25-20. And AJ, what's your biggest takeaway from the opening exchanges?
To be honest, Essex's defense is crazy. Shamblin having a worldie of a passing game, but they are really trying to pin her, and obviously mistakes will happen. And Polonia, as we said at the start, very, very strong out of system. Their hitters are very powerful, very dynamic, making loads and loads of adjustments and just forcing lots of pressure.
15 kills in set number 1, 4 side out. No changes from the starting sevens except for the Rebels, but they can't get that one as the quick tip over Garrett, who is playing ahead of Leia Borek in set number 2. Big call for Alex Chinnery. And Merv Aiken again going at Shamblin. Slide for Haney, finds Aiken. Jagiel's going to put up a high ball. Mully's going to go inside and try and attack. But Weldon read it well. Garrett into the block and finds the floor. Alice Jagielska, Abby Russell again combining. And the side out middle's really doing a good job on the outsides of Essex.
She just closes that gap fantastically, and both of them getting so high. Huge piece of it on the ball, stuffed back right in the face.
Aiken, short float serve. Weldon scrambling, and they're going to call a net touch on Simmons. Or we're going to call lift, correction.
Yeah, I didn't think that a net touch was coming through, but it
I
was
saw
a bit
Whittle, and we just assumed it was something as I was tracking the ball.
She's going to be saying that it was reactionary right now, but it was a bit of a prolonged contact. A tough call to make, but the ref set the standard, and I'm sure he'll uphold it.
So 3 points in a row for side out as they look to carry the momentum from late in set 1. Weldon, much better pass, backcourt attack for Diaz Infante into the net. Alex Chinnery asking immediately for a timeout, and he looks infuriated on the sidelines.
He doesn't look angry, just disappointed. Yeah, it's a frustrating start, obviously, as we said, side out.
Oh no, he's angry.
Huge energy coming in and momentum from the first set. Essex really needing to find.
You can see
the body language.
Animated in the animation. That's an angry Alex Chinnery. I had plenty of time to work with him in the comms booth as well. You can see him just trying to get his team fired up. We know this was a big game in their season. And we'll see how his side responds. Obviously some experience and adversity. And we'll see what the response is from the Rebels, trailing 4-0. Set number 2. Garrett forcing Simmons. He makes a one-handed stuff. There's another ace, and Merv Aiken on serve. Really causing some damage. We saw a big serving run in set number 1 as well. And make that ace number 27 on the season. Zaya Garrett has to go cross court. Mully, big dig by Weldon. Russell right on top of the net and finds the kill.
And beautiful. Mully just dragging inside, moving that block around, and then Russell getting up for the overpass, finding floor. Again, we're seeing side out moving this block around really dangerously in this second set, not letting them get a consistent base for where they're going to cause these blocks.
Garrett through the middle, diving defense by Aiken. And Rebels finally on the board, but not until it was 6-0. And we'll see if they can force changes. Russell into the block. Yilmaz with the cover. Diaz Infante overpass. Good hand by Simmons on the overpass. Unfortunately for the Rebels, ball going out.
It's an Abby Russell takeover at the moment. Any overpass that's in her airspace, getting up and absolutely obliterating. Not once, second time of asking though, off the block and out.
And
Mully at the base.
really grown into role. Had to step into an outside position in the game against Lionhearts. Another overpass killed off by Jagielska. But said really grown into role. Day at the game, Yulia Tokarenko called in sick with all the outside injuries. He slid Abby Russell over to the outside position and came up with a season high, as you'd expect, in kills. 15 kills on 31 swings in a position you're not used to. Some stat, and she's really taken over the semi-finals. Mully aces, Chamberlain, Alex Chinnery, timeout number 2. And this set is running away from the Rebels really quickly, AJ. What can they do to fix?
I mean, it's pretty obvious from up here. I don't know about down there, but I think their first thought is we've got to keep the pass our side, because if they keep feeding over passes, you have Russell in the middle who's dropping absolute bombs, and then Jagielska, who not getting dragged into that game but disciplined as soon as it crosses into her space, just finding floor really, really quickly. So I think Essex, their first thing here is finding a pass. I mean, such a common and easy notion, but when you're under the thumb and under the pump like this, 8 points down, it's going to be a struggle. And are Polonia going to keep Garrett under that service pressure? That is the question.
But you've also got to credit the serving pressure right now of SIDEOUT. They're being a little bit more aggressive than we've seen throughout the season and really putting Rebels under the cosh. And that back passing unit have not responded despite the change with Borovec on the bench. We'll see, not far away probably from some roller to dice, make some subs as well. See what Mully can produce. Another not good pass by Shamlin. She'll get it back, tries to go long but way over the baseline.
Yeah, and Polonia really shaking the cage of Shamblin. In the first set, she got a handle on her passing, but I now think she must be feeling huge amounts of pressure as the lead mounts for SIDEOUT.
Shamblin gets ace, the ball over the back of Haney's head. Leia Borovec being asked to go return in the game. I'm assuming this is for Shamblin.
Yeah.
No, it's
not.
It's not for.
It's for Garrett.
Interesting.
But maybe having this consistent passing core that they're used to will switch Shamblin back on. Who knows?
You wonder if you see a libero change. At this point, 11-1 set's probably gone. We'll see if the Rebels can produce a miracle, but not if Carla Mully keeps putting serve pressure on. There's a pass just inside the 3-point line. Diaz Infante rolls from the pipe, but we've seen that in this rotation. Diaz Infante running the middle pipe, and Rebels this time able to succeed as Kat Tolley finally able to get on. But that's the worst thing for a middle, right? Walking onto court and you're 11-2 down in a set.
That's it. Huge amounts of pressure. But as I said just then, Shamblin found her pass as well. Much better than the last 3, and they converted.
Yilmaz with a perfect pass. Big swing by Russell, but they're going to call it net touch on the block, despite the big dig by Borovec.
And these are unforced errors like these do nothing for the morale of a team, so they really need to get a handle on this, because giving 3 points away when you're 10 points down, not ideal.
As Russell misses the baseline, but by a hair. Can't ask for much more from the middle.
Leia Borovec really watching that the whole way and then double checking with the line judge just to make sure that it was called as she saw.
As Simmons aces Tokarenko, the ball just dipping a little bit.
And Tokarenko just not moving her feet to the end. She seemed to get stuck in cement a little bit, and then, as you said, that ball just died and she realised, oh, I can't, there's no way I can extend and make that pass.
Third most aces in the Super League coming in. Chelsea Simmons, I believe that's number 34 on the season, along with the one in set 1. My memory's correct. As Aiken, big long set to Jagielska, gets rejected by Tolley. And all of a sudden, the Rebels have a little bit of life.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this. Great read. Slightly early movement, and she just gets a big, big piece of it. As
Simmons goes to Jagielska. Good pass Tokarenko, that ball was mashed.
Unreal. Look at this. Look at the crater she's about to put into this court. Now that is a super spike if I've ever seen one. Yulia Tokarenko, known for her power and just having it on display right now.
Jagielska floats her. Borovic. Tolly has to play it, and that goes outside the court, probably outside the antenna. As Mark Kontopoulos points to his bench, tells someone to get ready. Or giving someone to credit for a strategic change. I can't quite see from up here. As Jagielska finds the back corner left. Almost the same as Abby Russell's one, but this one inside the line. And the side-out lead suddenly back to 10. 15-5 up. And that Rebels momentum has gone, and really it's on to set 3 for them.
That's exactly it. It's about figuring things out going into set 3 and asking, can they get a foot in the door in that third set?
Diaz Infante on the slide from the opposite position. Coming across court, Tokarenko hits another monster over the top of the Diaz Infante block.
Just Tokarenko getting really wide outside the court, drifting in, going off one leg to still find a nuke like that is insane athleticism. It helps that she's tall, but great athleticism.
Shamblin, good pass this time. She'll run inside into the block. All 6 Rebels players inside the 3-meter line. And just look at this block angle by the side-out defense.
Insane block, and they were all stacked up for a monster block, and it was just pushed in that kind of deeper zone where no one was standing. Bit of a no-fault one, but Shamblin's getting put under the pump, and she's struggling to pass mostly. She finds it there.
Good block touch and pick up by Jagielska. Tokarenko rolls it into the hand of Tolly for the kill. And this is Team Side-Out at its best. This was the version of Side-Out we saw in the first game between the two teams where they blew Rebels out of the water late in the set. And they're doing it here in set number 2. 18-5 the lead. As Shamblin into Tokarenko. Finds the kill. And subs coming for Coach Mark. Double sub on the way. Tried and tested partnership. Anna Rantala, the Finnish former beach player. I'm only saying that because AJ's next to me. In for Alice Jagielska, and Konstantina Skandali, the backup setter, in as well. So keeping the setter on the back row for Team Side-Out. And Busquets into the net, coming down from the swing. Little bit of a tight set.
A little bit of a shrug from Valeria Busquets there as well, like, me? Oh, okay. As
the call coming in for what they want from this pass, but the first thing is a good pass. Tokarenko not the greatest, going to have to get it back into the block of Borovic and out of bounds. Good angle from Tokarenko, and Borovic really feels like she wanted to do something else with that. Just couldn't twist the hands enough to direct, as Millard in for Tokarenko for serving purposes. Once again, saw that serving run late in set number 1.
With a player like Tokarenko, you don't need perfect passing. She's got huge experience, she's athletic, she's tall. She doesn't find a perfect pass. That was a bit of a give it back to me pass.
Simmons pushes it out to Borovic. Another block touch by Side-Out. Rantala tips. Tolly keeps the left hand there, finds the kill. Good adjustment by Kath Tolly.
Well, and just floating in the air. It's, again, all athleticism on show. Look, she's just reaching, finding that space, and then pushes it back down.
And she'll earn a trip down to the serve line. Skandali, Mully, another block touch. Shamblin overpass, and Valeria Busquets can't beat Haney. Haney, who's been quiet since early on in set number 1, trying to find a little bit of rhythm. It's now all about momentum for the Rebels. They're going to dig themselves out of this whole. Probably not this set, as Rantala off the top of the net, I believe, takes it over the block. And team side out moves into the 20s. And that'll bring Abigail Russell, who's had a tremendous outing so far, back onto the front row. Diaz Infante, huge cross-court angle.
And Diaz Infante staying amped up. Look at her. She is the emotional control tower. Finding a point, trying to get her team onside and making sure they're fired up as well.
She'll go back on to serve. As Rebels just try and find a way through, and maybe something they want to do in set number 3 is Carla Mully into the block. Well recycled by Shamlin. Simmons dumped, but well read by Yilmaz. Skandali was going to be in position to play. It's Rantala into the block of Borowek and Haney. Kat Tolley on the Rebels bench, nearly onto court celebrating.
And pretty
huge
much
stuff by Borowek.
Almost a one-on-one. The middle really hadn't found time to get out to the pin and connect up, but Borowek taking over, pressing super hard over that net and keeping the angles tight.
Diaz Infante low flat, Miller, good pass, Mully, Weldon with the dig, but digs out of court. Huge swing by Carla Mully, again just being super effective when she sees the ball.
Yeah, Weldon almost in the right place there, nearly got her platform behind it, but just kind of swung with the ball and just really couldn't get a handle on the power.
Borowek goes line, finds Rantala. Mully again going to have a chance and goes off the block.
That's a really smart take from Yilmaz as well. She could see the setter running in from an awkward position, made a really big call early, said, no, leave it, this one's mine, and just puts up some bump juice. Absolutely spanked into the block, and easy point. 11-point lead for SIDEOUT in this second set. They are running away with it, to say the least, in the business end of this set.
Shamblin, who's really struggled into the block by Borowek, gets it recycled. Good, smart play. Mully, that's going to be tight. Skandali tries to go for the dump to keep it alive. Good play by the Greek setter. Keeps the side in it, making the Rebels earn it as Haney finds the slide, and Rantala was covering, but Miller takes it away from her.
Yeah, tricky spot when the slide hits there, because Millard obviously thought that Rantala was taking something either a little bit deeper or a little bit shorter, and they just crossed paths. Bit of a traffic jam, quite tough.
As Mully, little push over. Simmons going to set for the backcourt, Borowek, but she misses the baseline. And Tokarenko back into the front court.
Yeah.
11 kills to 4 in set number 2 by our quick maths up here in the commentary box, and that's doesn't even feel like the biggest difference right now. Just feels like SIDEOUT controlling a lot of play, and the passing for the Rebels has really struggled.
Ooh.
As
Yeah.
that is not legal by Chelsea Simmons, and that will bring up set points for Team SIDEOUT.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that's the first handling violation that's being called, but both teams have been looking for some calls earlier on, but the ref, again, setting a strong standard. Fair, but that was not the prettiest.
Another poor serve reception. Diaz Infante, good swing though from the pipe. Mully's going to have a chance to clinch the set. Finds Borowek, another back line attack for Diaz Infante. As Tokarenko, not this time, long rally again. Big dig by Yilmaz. Skandali gets there. Tokarenko free ball for the Rebels. They need to really convert. Haney down the line on the slide.
And Julia Haney, what a way to put an exclamation point on this game. Completely outside of those blocking hands and just punching it down the line. Tokarenko not finding an answer, and Julia Haney just saying, there's always more line.
Haney Not the cleanest contact, but finds the placement of the line. Tokarenko into the block of Tolley and Simmons. And the one positive from set number 2 for the Rebels is this block has started to be effective. That's the 5th block kill of the set. And that will be one positive they can take.
Catherine Tolley, yeah, just starting to make good reads and good shifts of weight without cheating on these blocks. It means she's closing out earlier, and obviously that's what's finding so much more success.
Skandali back set. Russell gets Tolley all crossed up. No Rebels backline defense. Set number 2 in convincing fashion. Goes to side out, having won the first 25-20. They take it 25-14. And that's pretty much as dominant as you would want in a Final Four by the team from London.
Yeah, and as I said at the start, I mean, when you think of UK volleyball and high level, you do think of Polonia, and they're kind of really showing that volleyball royalty and heritage now.
As Alex Chinnery just trying to get his team together. This is a big moment for the Rebels. Trying to regroup this team that definitely had some rattled moments in set number 2. What can they provide?
Yeah, but you can see when you compare both of these team huddles, Chinnery found a bit more difficulty pulling his team together. Mark Kontopoulos didn't even have to speak twice, all in a huddle, all together. And we got a bit of a dance.
Indeed, that side-out huddle to our left, AJ, already broken. Not a lot of tweaks you need to make. They've got some bench options. Even coming in off the bench, Millard served well. Rantala was nice and solid at the end of the set. For Rebels, tried some things, haven't quite worked.
Well, this is what you spoke about at the start as well, Michael, is the side-out depth of their bench. It's just, it makes a team so much more daunting and unfloppable when they can kind of freely change and make substitutions without anything really breaking down. I mean, it helped with an 11-point lead plus, but yeah, side out looking very scary going into this third set. Essex have got to be feeling the pressure.
As the Rebels still in the huddle. Alex Chinnery not handed in his lineup card till now, too busy trying to talk. We'll see what the Rebels can produce. As Spikey ejected out of the venue for having too much fun. In which case, what are we doing, MC? We want to have fun here.
Exactly.
This is 2025 Final Fours. Spot in the gold medal game is 25 points away from team side out.
Yeah, team side out, huge foot in the door of the final right now. But as we said, if Essex can make a big move here, take them past that 3-set margin, who knows? It could all change. I wouldn't discount Essex just yet. They lost a lot of momentum in that last set. But as we said, this is biggest stage they'll play on all year, and they will want this badly.
As underway for set number 3, no surprise who's at the service line. Merva Aiken, who's had a big service game, multiple runs in both sets 1 and 2. Nearly aces shambling, but instead it's an overpass, so 3-ball system, which Jagielska finds to kill. And it's a perfect start to set number 3.
And this is it. We've seen side out statistically so many more kills, kind of double digits above what Essex are doing. And if they keep finding clean kills like this, the margin will always stay high. Essex need to really focus on not getting aced this set and finding big blocks.
Diaz Infante, there's a big swing on the cross court. Diaz Infante, we said, the emotional leader, has also been the bright spark of this Rebels offense. The one consistent thing they seem to have had is her on that cross court.
That's it. And again, it was one of those situations where the middle didn't quite make the right read, probably shifted the other way a bit. And a one-on-one with Diaz Infante, she says thank you very much. That's an easy kill for me.
Tokarenko, Jagielska roll shot. Borovec again roll. Aiken has to scramble, so out of system. That's an overpass, and that's going to be Alice Jagielska for avoiding the net, but problem was the ball didn't go over, so 4 touches on side out. As Aiken right on the 3-metre line, going to set Carla Mully. Great pick up by Shamblin, but second touch by Weldon, nowhere. So free ball once again for team side out, and they'll find the kill. Jagielska really warming into set number 3 nicely.
Yeah, big swing from Jagielska, completely OT. That's basically an open net, and such a hard thing to set up your defense behind a block that isn't getting high enough to get a touch on the swing.
Simmons tries to go behind the head and gets the touch. I think that was going wide, and Yilmaz trying to scramble to her left to play it.
But that's great reactions from her. I mean, there was no call from her team letting her know. And Shamblin, what a pass. Hopefully she finds a bit of a groove this set.
As the Rebels again going towards Yulia Tokarenko. Jagielska rolls into the net. Again, it all comes from that pass, so that that Aiken was pulled so far off the net made the setting angle not great for her. And maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of belief in this Essex Rebels team. As Jagielska from the right side, again, trying to go. Shamblin's going to have to tip. Well read by Tokarenko. Side-out defense has been very strong today. As Shamblin goes line and misses the baseline.
No, she was looking for the call of it being in, but it was wide and long. But the ref's calling a touch off the block. Interesting. Bit of confusion, bit of arguments. Obviously the captain not to address the second ref. We love a bit of drama, Michael. We love a bit of drama.
I don't know if they called a block touch or if they called it in.
It looked like the ref called a block touch. Both line judges called the ball out. So.
I've just seen both head coaches exchange words. I don't think either of them thought it was Rebels' point. So, but we are definitely not qualified. Ooh. But what is qualified is Julia Haney stuffing overpasses. Hello.
Julia Haney getting in a bit of her own on these overpasses. Both middles from both sides. Again, just danger zone. You feed a middle with an overpass. Especially both of them, side out Abby Russell and Julia Haney from Essex, USA, powerhouses. They will put the ball away.
As quick timeout, an early talk.
Well, this looks a lot like set 1 in terms of score difference, with Essex kind of taking a bit of a lead.
Essex did have a 4-point lead when the first timeout in set number 1 was called, and then they went on and won it, winning.
Well, that's it, but the most dangerous creature is something trapped in a corner, and Essex are fighting their way out of a corner right now. So side out really can't let their foot off the neck. They've got to keep the pressure applied.
I'm not going to say nothing to lose, but absolutely nothing to lose. 2-0 down. As Leia Borovec, Yilmaz, Tokarenko trying to go cross court, and she beats Shamblin. Another huge swing by Yulia Tokarenko.
Tokarenko just hitting that 4-4 spot. Hard to hit, but she just makes it look so easy. Testing Shamblin, saying, okay, you're passing our serves well, but can you pass this? And answer's no.
Haney on the slide into the block, but blocked out. And
Haney, bit of a powerhouse this set. She's kind of getting it all done on the offensive.
It was my question was, where was she? Obviously the block, but the problem is Rebels have been so out of system. The pass has been so bad. It's so difficult to get the middles involved. And
but now
that's been quiet. But
now that Borovec and Shamblin have found their pass, obviously.
Well, what doesn't help is her going to the back row to serve and finding the net, and now having to sit on the bench when you've just got yourself warm. So 3 point for Team SIDEOUT. Still trail by 3 early on set number 3. Winner of this match will take on Mallory Eagles in tomorrow's final for the gold medal. And the loser will take on Lionheart's Vilnarius. As Borovec from the pipe. Again the block, and again the Rebels not making adjustments on the cover, on the pipe attack. They're almost playing it like it's the ball's being swung from right at the net where the tip's going to go straight down, but from the pipe attacks then always going to have a little bit of a longer lead.
It's a great adjustment by SIDEOUT as well. They drifted to the outside early, but then
as
wow.
Jagielska aces Borovec.
Well, I'm glad I didn't say anything because I was going to say Borovec and Shamblin are having a great day passing, but that didn't look ideal. 1 point in it we go. SIDEOUT trailing still.
I believe that is ace number 9 for Team SIDEOUT today. As Shamblin rolls through to her right. Back set. Busquets on the slide beats Borovec. And we are tied at 7 apiece, and exactly what happened in set 1, AJ. Quick early timeout for Team SIDEOUT Polonia, and then turn it round ever so quickly and get the scores back to level pegging.
Well, it just looks like ESSEX have kind of taken all of their steam out. They've just completely lost the will to fight. They had it for the first 8 points of the set, and it's just gone now.
Tolly has to wait on it, but does a really nice job adjusting the arm angle. It's such a difficult thing to do when the ball's inside of you.
Especially at this level, finding a way to score when you're inside, you have to drop that elbow and try and sneak around 4 hands that are in front of you. But there's something a bit nervous about the Essex hitters at the moment. I mean, Shamblin having rolled the last 3 shots instead of taking a swing at it, and Tolly, I know she was a bit off. Diaz Infante
overpass killers.
He is not a player that will roll the ball.
Nope. Not the way she is playing. You can see the passion and the fire. And anytime on the overpass, that middle background as well, you're used to seeing a couple of those overpasses from the middle spot. Makes no mistake. As Chelsea Simmons, who forced that overpass back again to serve Tokarenko. And don't know if that was a block or it went into the net, but either way, Rebels point. And all of a sudden, again, this set is just flipping back and forth with momentum.
Point.
Well, that's why. So the block went straight under the net then, not over the net.
Yeah.
That's a poor piece of commentary. We can't lie. Aiken fighting at the net. No net touch by any player. Good job staying off the tape as Busquets takes one off the head.
It's interesting from Chelsea Simmons in the front court. She keeps feeding Shamblin, even though Shamblin's really not having a lot of success. And the last 3 sets she's given to Diaz Infante, they've scored. So you've got to wonder what she's trying to do. I think she might be trying to drag Shamblin kicking and screaming back into the set.
Oh, Shamblin with a good serve, but a better pass and a better slide attack. Valeria Busquets, the Spanish 18-year-old in her first year in British volleyball, showing why she's been such a staple for this SIDEOUT offense.
And again, you saw a bit of frustration at the end of that point from Chelsea Simmons. The block hadn't closed up, and on these slide hits, it's so paramount because most of their success from those slide hits has been that exact spot. And if you're not getting that block connected and the timing right.
Busquets able to find a good serve. The serve has been a weakness of the game, but she served well today as Aiken puts it directly up. Mully, no touch on the block.
Smart play from Mully though. She got up and she was definitely looking for fingers. But Rebels not getting that touch.
And that'll allow Julia Haney to get back into the action. As the scoreboard says, Rebels lead by 2. As Mully, low flat serve by Tolly. She'll get a block touch. Tolly on the defense. Back set, Diaz Infante. There's a roll shot, but not well executed. But at least Rebels in the point. Mully has to be creative to keep it alive. Diaz Infante this time goes roll right onto the 3-meter line.
Look at that from Diaz Infante. Just after I said she doesn't roll, it goes twice in a row. Beautiful stuff. First taking out the setter and then just finding the court. I think Polonia must have thought absolutely no way she'll do it twice. They all backed up for a big swing and twice it happened.
So Rebels back into a 3-point lead that they had early on in this set before SIDEOUT tied us up. As Diaz Infante goes over the baseline. No, a one touch is given from the back official across to our left.
Yeah. And that's good. It was 100% a touch, but as we said, our officials don't miss a beat. But this is what we were speaking about probably a minute or two ago. The hot hand right now is Diaz Infante.
Oh.
Feed the hot hand.
Buzzer went off by the SIDEOUT bench, illegally so, but they'll get the kill. That would have been the second timeout. I wonder if Mark said if they win the next point, I want a timeout, and they hit the buzzer. But referee's happy to let us play through.
A little bit of drama, conversation from the second and first. Chelsea Simmons rightfully making a complaint. And let given. Essex Rebels can't quite believe their luck getting that back to them.
I'm assuming that's because the buzzer went off well, not mid-rally, but during the serving motion. I do have Nick Heckford away to my right. His notebook is out.
Should it be 9-13 now if it was a let? Oh.
I've got no idea what's going on. I can't lie.
Chaos.
Someone can work out at home. Stick your comments in the chat because we're lost. But what is not lost is Abby Russell in this game. There's another slide, another winner.
I know. It should be. The score on your screens is correct. 10-13 now. The let brought it obviously 9-13. SIDEOUT down, and it's 10-13 now.
Well, we will check
And
that
big
Haney.
from Julia Haney. She's back in the game. We said welcome her back off the bench, and another hot hand being fed.
I believe the scoreboard, obviously the official scoreboard is right in front of us. I believe they have it as 11 as well, but I'm trying to tell from up here. It's hard to really know. As Diaz Infante, big serve. Tokarenko nearly hits the roof of Crystal Palace, which is almost impossible to do. I think any other venue in the Mari Women's Super League, that would have hit the roof, but it doesn't matter. The Rebels still win the point.
Well, Merva Aiken there just thought it was drifting long and wide. So tea time is called.
But Essex Rebels can tell how much this team's based on momentum, AJ. But like when they're feeling it, the whole team gets fired up. The emotion carries over, and now they found their footing. You can't rule them out of this game necessarily.
Exactly that.
There's a lot to do, but they're in it.
Dangerous creatures. They win this set, and then, as you said, you didn't want to say it, but they got nothing to lose.
Well, the in-house scoreboard's gone back down to 10. We're still trying to get clarification because we're up on the balcony. And one thing we can't do is ask questions with headsets on as Haney stuffs the overpass. And the flip of this game, now the Essex Rebels serve. They're not acing, but they're starting to really crack this SIDEOUT passing unit.
Well, you said they'd come in with high service pressure, and these overpasses going into the hand of Haney are deadly. Service error, but the lead. Again. The lead still with Essex Rebels. As we've said, not too sure on the point differential. I think there was a bit of confusion on that let point earlier, and we're a bit lost in the sauce up on the balcony. But Diaz Infante,
as
big
Aiken
swing.
Mully
Can't get a
is
piece of it.
going to protect herself rather than fly over the advertising boards. Maybe if it's a gold medal game, set 5, you make that move, but it's a long weekend of volleyball. And the Rebels starting to cruise. 17. Believe it's 17-12. As Tokarenko into the block of Chelsea Simmons. And I don't know what's better, AJ, the block or the reaction. That was a mean mug face if I've ever seen one by Chelsea Simmons.
And this is what we were talking about
Haney
earlier, where the middle, when lining up and closing that out and they find their timing, Essex now making some big, big moves. And as you said, Julia, Chelsea, sorry, just no selly, cold, mean face. She means business. 18-12.
And we have had it confirmed from downstairs. Score is now correct, so we don't have to worry about that. As Haney stuffs Abby Russell. Monster block, and the Essex Rebels are believing.
This is huge. I was going to say earlier, it looks like this set could be a little bit of a battle between Russell and Haney. And Haney just kind of putting a little exclamation point there saying, hey, you're not the only middle that can take control of the game. Let's party.
Rantala into the block. She, along with Skandali, into the game. And Jagielska able to find the kill. Simmons looking for potentially a backcourt hitter in the front row.
Jagielska very, very smart with that. She's not trying to pound the ball super steep. She knows she's got height. She knows she's got athleticism. So just deep placement with a bit of pace is causing problems.
As Shamblin goes to the tip, Skandali plays it, but side out of system. Jagielska free ball. Borek, nice high pass, tight to the net, good pass. Shamblin not able to find the floor. Keeps it alive, gets it back. Another huge long rally. Russell playing defense from 6. Diaz Infante. Roll shot, Rantala.
Couple of errors from Rantala.
Up, overpass, and Simmons plays it over the net.
Ooh. That's a interesting call. From up here, it didn't look like she was encroaching over into that airspace, but again, down to the ref. It was close. It's a close call, but yeah, long rally, big momentum point for side out. We saw a couple of defensive errers from Rantala there as the points went on.
I had a quick look to my right, saw referee Nick Hetwood, and he was nodding his head. I think he had the same as me, with Simmons was slightly over, trying to be aggressive, but it doesn't matter as Haney wins the next one on that slide.
Well, we got a phrase, ball doesn't lie.
This is true. As Haney, Mully, tight for Skandali, and Yilmaz has to give it over. So free ball for the Rebels. Shamblin, big swing, big pickup though by Yilmaz, one of the defensive digs of the day. Diaz Infante right on the sideline. Tolly waits for it. Mully gets a hand to it, but no chasing that one, and Rebels lead by 7.
Tolly very, very happy with that one. I think that swing was probably going a little bit long. Mully just taking a big touch of it. Essex in full swing. Now side out, trying to regather. It looks like a very hard lead to come back from, especially if Essex keep playing their game. So it looks like we're at least going to 4.
Rantala. Skandali almost fell to the floor. She a little bit shaken up, but back on her feet. Great angle by Taya Shamblin, though. Not her best passing day, but offensively she warmed up nicely and really starting to cause problems for this side-out defense.
She's just been a bit of a roller coaster, really. I can't say it's a good offense day for her either, because earlier on and in the last set she was rolling everything, just giving absolute lollipops to the other team, and now she's finally started to get a big piece of it in the air and take some swings and finding big success.
Jagielska beats the blocker Shamblin. Huge swing by Alice Jagielska, the Pepperdine Beach volleyball commit. And again, she's not seen a ton of ball today, AJ, but when she's seen it, she's been effective.
Yeah, she's a pretty ruthless scorer. And again, that beach pack round just giving a little bit of extra bunnies. Ooh.
Jagielska aces Shamblin. That's back-to-back
Jagielska's
for
been
Jagielska.
She's been causing some of the more potent issues for Shamblin on the serve-receive end. Her float just seeming to move a lot and really not follow a pattern that Shamblin's able to read.
As she aces Borowek. Alex Jagielska, not her best serving season, only 12 aces going into it, but really starting to warm up in this semi-final. Obviously had her first England senior caps at the Five Nations along with Kath Tolley in January, as Shamblin better this time. Simmons backpedaling for the angle, but Shamblin finds the kill. And the Rebels bench knew that was a big one.
Well, 2 points there within spitting distance to the fourth set. Essex Rebels, as we said, they just came out wanting it. Let go of it a little bit early on, but got a firm grasp once again.
Skandali as Rantala into the net. And not quite set over yet. Head coach Mark Kontopoulos was already on his way over. Didn't quite realise that is now set point, but Rebels have 7 of them. And it'll be Captain Chelsea Simmons back, pushing Rantala deep. Busquets on the slide. Good defense by Tolley, and Shamblin keeps the ball alive. Diaz Infante. Roll shot picked up by Yilmaz. Rantala. Shamblin keeps it alive, but not able to keep the ball on the Rebel side, despite the interest of Diaz Infante diving under the net.
But this is one of these things, it's end of the set, and you could think that they could almost die down from it, but they're just keeping that momentum and energy super high as if it's everything to play for. 6 set points to go, but they're giving it, they're all trying to carry that momentum in.
So, is Rantala to try and save the set, and she doesn't. Ball way over the baseline, and the Essex Rebels take it 25-18. A bit of a roller coaster set, but the Rebels back playing somewhere near their best volleyball, and they've given themselves an opportunity here. It's going to take a lot still, AJ, but they'll feel a lot better at this change of ends.
But this is major danger zone, isn't it now, Michael?
Are you suggesting reverse sweep?
I would never like to call something so early, but danger zone for SIDEOUT. They are, if SIDEOUT are a cheater, then Essex Rebels are like wolves.
And look at that change in philosophy. End of the second set, the team was straight over to the bench. Long meet with Alex Chinner. This time the players on court huddled up, away from the coach first, trying to settle them down. We're going to take a quick break here from Crystal Palace, and we join in quickly for set 4, but SIDEOUT Polonia lead Essex Rebels 2-1. And welcome back to Crystal Palace. Essex Rebels taking the third set 25-18. And for the first time this weekend, and probably not the last unless something crazy happens, we are getting a set number 4. AJ, obviously dominant set 2 from side out. Set 1 was up and down. So what makes you think that Essex can force a decider?
For me, the history. Essex are a known team to just, as I said, if side out are cheaters with like high burnout rate, they put in the power in the first 3 sets. Essex have got to be the wolves. They can run, chase their prey down for days, and we've seen it. I mean, I'm sure I don't want to spoil any stats, but Essex have found a lot of success in 5-set games, and anything going past 3, Essex really seem to find their groove. If they get crushed and blown out in the 3 sets, then obviously there's nothing to do. But the minute they get a foot in the door, there's still everything to play for.
Just 2 errors by the Rebels in set number 3. And that helped them pull back, along with a much better offense as Jagielska can't control the serve by Shamblin. And an early ace for Taya Shamblin. One to watch for a reason. Maybe a little bit nervous early on, but she's really seems to settle down. And this Essex team full of confidence. And
Alice brought straight out of that pass. You can see it. The minute she got aced, side out were really quick to fill the gap. No second chances.
Whereas an opposite, you're generally not in the serve rotation a lot as Abby Russell on the slide finds success. Alice Jagielska, just 12 serve receive attempts on the season prior to that one, to make that 13.
And not beneficial to the stat line.
Yeah, unfortunately not when you get aced. As Merva Aiken, who's been really dominant from the service line, also set really well, trying to keep her team in it with the right-handed dig. Jagielska finds Diaz Infante.
And I think Jagielska was not ready for a blocker to be there. She took a lot of pace off. She was going to try and drop it short, and you can see Diaz Infante just watches, timing so impeccable, saw that the shot was coming, it was going to be a bit of an off-pace roll, and just gets up, stuffs it back down, and lets out such an emphatic roar to pump her team up.
Can see the teams for the men's game next coming up. We'll talk about that, no doubt, later in the set. It's Jagielska, one-handed save by Shamblin, and that is definitely 3 touches. But great hustle by the Rebels, and that's what we didn't quite think they were giving set 1. They were trying, but nothing coming off, and here they have got the confidence. You could just see an extra step.
Yeah, and there were players closer, and Simmons could have made that kind of call for help, and then went for a one-handed scoop, and just probably could have got 2 on it, and then couldn't find it. And
Diaz Infante not finding the kill, block touch and pick up by Yilmaz, but Jagielska sends the ball deep.
And is it the start of this young lady starting to feel a bit of pressure? Our chat for the first time today now favouring Polonia, so
I think that changed late in set 2. We just hadn't looked
see
at
where
it,
your loyalties lie.
But the other thing is, it's still nearly 50-50, which probably says how this game started to swing. It does feel like Rebels are starting to maybe be the better side, but that is not a better serve by Diaz Infante. That is way over the baseline, halfway to the car park. And we are tied at 3 points apiece, and that'll be Abby Russell, who's had a very important role for side out in the first 2 sets. On to serve. Borovec tries to go roll, but rolls it into the top of the net, trying to cut over it and find that sharp angle.
Those are 2 unforced errors that you really can't have at the start of this 4th set. I mean, starting with Diaz Infante's missed serve. It's one of the golden rules. Your opponent makes an unforced error, you do not miss your serve. Ooh.
Diaz Infante squeezes it over and through the block of Busquets and Jagielska. A little bit lower than the blockers were thinking off the top of the net, but we've seen Essex have success from that back row pipe attack with her.
And I'm wondering if some of the blockers were waiting for the whistle from the ref. But we've got 4 apiece now with Borovec back on that baseline. Testing Tokarenko.
Tokarenko again being asked questions. Borovec, great pass. Haney wants it, and that is why Julia Haney hammer swing.
Huge. And we've seen a real presence from Haney in that last set. I don't really remember her showing up in the first 2, but she's here now. And she's making that clear.
We said it earlier, it's that link to that serve reception that Essex struggled with so much, especially in set number 2. Jagielska, block touch, low pickup, so Shamblin will have to roll round it. That's tight. Aiken keeps it alive, and they're going to give...
That is such a smart play from Merva. She spotted that blocker kind of starting to press, jumped up, took the set, and then I think probably pushed it in a way where it looks still like a set, but pushed it into the hands. And yeah, finding a point. Sneaky.
Jagielska float serve. Weldon with a pinpoint pass. Haney on the slide is rejected by Tokarenko, and Busquets, monster.
And I think, looking at this is Haney's attempt to get back into the game after that disagreement. Look, she tries to absolutely give this everything, but just closes up both arms, kind of seal that gap. Big block.
Weldon, Shamblin off the hands, but good ball. Aiken into Haney. Going to try and tip it over into the deep court. Aiken, that's going to be a little bit tight again. Little punch into the block to recycle. Busquets off 1 foot. Dug up by Weldon down the line. Borovec from a deep pipe. As Tokarenko finds the net.
This is what we were talking about earlier. It's
for the Rebels.
Bit of fatigue setting in. A lot of names being bounced around as a lot of touches happen, but Essex just remaining diligent. Again, this is 4th set. They're entering their territory. They're entering that long game that they really fancy so much. And Tokarenko looking like maybe is she starting to run out of steam? We'll see. Too early to say.
Molly. Aiken goes for the set dump. Diaz Infante with a ridiculous pickup from the opposite position. We're going cross body. Tokarenko over Tolly. Beats Haney. That's a huge swing.
And you see the little stare down through the net from Tokarenko as well. They've got to be so quick and cheeky with it so they don't get carded. But look at that absolute nuke.
I mean, Haney wasn't far away from playing a ridiculous dig from the middle position. The side-out bench trying to encourage their team as Borovec leaves it short for Simmons. That's going to be tight. Joust, ball sits on top of the net and on to the side outside. Mully, who's been quiet, gets a touch on it.
And you see Mark Kontopoulos running up to the sideline, shaking his hands when the ref pointed the incorrect way. Yeah, and one of the ball kids mistakenly rolled it to the side of Rebels.
Alex Chiri not happy, but I think a block touch was the call from our lines judge in the back. Diaz Infante into the net, and timeout, Alex Chinnery.
Yeah, rightfully so. They've started strong, but now with side out taking a lead of 3 points there, I don't know, it's looking scary. Rebels really want to force this to 5. That's their bread and butter in the 5th set. So let's side out need to shut that down.
As the sun's starting to creep through.
And if you're watching from home, I hope you're sat out in the garden, in the sunlight, maybe a beer or a bev, soft drink, watching good volleyball while we've got beautiful weather.
Indeed, as the sun definitely come to play this weekend. Lovely. Obviously, you'll be happy if that stays for beach season, which is right around the corners. Busquets on the slide again, and we've seen Valeria Busquets have so much success with that move today. The 18-year-old showing no fear. She won a championship in Spain last year, and she's not afraid of the big stage so far this afternoon.
Well, for her, this will be little stage compared to a finals in France. This will be seemingly small and
Tokarenko aces Shamblin, and all of a sudden it's starting to fall apart for the Rebels.
Tokarenko, such a smart serve there, really pushing that deep outside of body line over Shamblin. Shamblin just getting a bit lost on the turn, trying to make a dig and just really can't find it. 5-point lead.
Simmons, Diaz Infante into the block of Busquets. Another back row attack, and that's something Diaz Infante's done really well today. Success from the back line.
And we can see Diaz Infante seriously trying to pump her team up. There's some heads dropping, and she's just making sure to go round, check on everyone, try and keep them pumped up. And we've got the captain back to serve.
Tokarenko can only put it upwards. Jagielska, not a great second contact either. Free ball for the Rebels. They need a couple of points on serve as Yilmaz with a great pickup. Tokarenko from the back. Ball out to Shamblin. That's a huge swing over the top of Aiken. And all of a sudden, maybe this swinging back the other way.
And look at that. As we said, once they find that in-system play and Shamblin decides to hit the ball, they usually score.
As potential subs coming for team side out. As Mully into the block of Diaz Infante. Tolly has to play it, so it's going to be a free ball for side out Aiken. Mully blocked by Diaz Infante.
Oh my God! That is an unreal stuff from Diaz Infante. She's feasting on these one-on-one blocks. Just look at how high she gets. Look at the roar she yells out. Her team holding their heads. Look at it. Boom. Huge block. Her team can't quite believe it. Essex Rebels really not to be counted out.
As Tokarenko replaced by the DS for side out. As Busquets tries to run the slide. Scrambled defense, and they're going to call a lift as they tried to keep it alive.
And enough time in that rally for Essex Rebels to ask, not once but twice, to the referee what the call was going to be. 1 point difference now, 10-11. Hayashi
Swings.
obviously in for Tokarenko. Very smart choice. She is very present defensively.
And
But
she'll
she'll
have
get
the chance
tested.
to serve, receive. That's not ideal placement, but playable. As Tolly rejects Carla Mully. The Essex Rebels block is starting to dominate
French
once
fries on
again.
the board.
And we're 11 points apiece out of nowhere. The Essex Rebels are not giving up their gold medal dream easily. And side out, looked like they missed the timeout by about half a second. Simmons was waiting, got told to play on. Busquets again, slide, Aiken one hand on it. It's going to be a free ball given up by Yilmaz. Back set for Diaz Infante.
Inside out shoulder action. Timeout call. It's harsh to say Yilmaz giving up that free ball. But look at the inside out shoulder flexibility, Diaz Infante.
Hold on, the officials are talking this one over. We're just going to wait on a ruling here. We can see the referees.
Calling that captain over, having a chat. Chelsea obviously wants a piece of this conversation as well.
I wonder if both coaches are getting warnings here. Via the captains, of course.
But Chelsea's been warned away, saying you're not needed for this talk here. She's obviously a little bit frustrated by that. She, as a captain, should be able to be part of most of these things. But words being exchanged. Did you get an ear on it?
There you go. Yellow card was incoming, that's why.
Bit of cheddar cheese, bit of cheddar cheese.
And now team side out get their timeout. And I agree. I before I heard the buzzer go below us, I heard a whistle for ready for play. And I wonder if that was the first time it happened in set one. There was a warning and there was a yellow for that as well, because Mark clearly wanted a timeout. But what's impressed you, AJ, it's got to be the resiliency of the Rebels, right? It wasn't all going their way, but they've clawed back. They've withstood a couple of service runs by side out in this set even. And now they're back into the game. Remind us, follow us on socials at Volleyball England.
And hit that bell icon, and every time we're streaming, every time a video comes up, you'll be notified, so you can be the first ones on the scene. We're on X, we're on Instagram, Volleyball England, check us out.
And reminder, all games this weekend here on Volleyball England, individual live streams for all of them. It'll be AJ, you're staying up here, joined by Jess Smith for the next semi-final. The Essex Rebels men probably going through it upstairs. They're trying to start their warm-up, but they're probably worried about what's happening with the women's team as well. They'll take on Team Newcastle Knights, and then we've got London Giants Mallory Eagles to finish off day one here. So Rebels up by 1 after timeout. Chelsea Simmons, the captain, on serve. Aiken to Mully goes tip. Well read by Simmons, but she plays defense out of system. Shambling goes roll shot. So back-to-back rolls. Aiken, good hand by Tolly. Weldon again having to set. Diaz-Infante has to wait on it. Just a little bit. Not the cleanest point. Mully finds Borek in the 6. Shambling misses the baseline. 12 apiece, but another long rally. And both defenses really making teams earn this point.
And Shamblin just couldn't get on top of that ball there. You see delayed footwork from both her and Diaz-Infante, and really just didn't get that snap over the top to bring that ball into the court. And in was the call, but Borovic trusted her eyes. She's left a couple very close ones this game and has always found success, so it's good that she had faith in herself to retain the lead for Essex.
So Taya Shamblin
That
gets nearly the ace. That's a ridiculous save by the side-out defense, but it doesn't matter as Diaz-Infante is absolutely on fire.
And look at that, free ball over Diaz-Infante and makes the pass and finds the kill again. Just really working this shoulder and wrist, finding ways around the block. Defensive specialist now having been pushed out of the pass in favour for the opposite Alice Jagielska. Will she have her 14th pass of the season?
Not quite there, as Russell, who's been really quiet in sets 3 and 4, not seen a lot of ball. That's tight. And back onto the Rebel side. Misplay gives side out the point. And we go point for point in set number 4.
And we've seen Shamblin really finding a tough time on these trap sets, but it seems like her window of a perfect hit is really difficult for her to find.
Feels like a potential big moment here in this set. Merv Aiken, who's had a really, really strong service day, back on the line. The Rebels desperately need a side out right here. Borovic on the double attack with Tolly coming across as well. Finds the kill. Lea Borovic, who had a big opportunity after being benched early in set 1 as Emily Priestley serving sub 4. Kath Tolly checks back in for the second time. As the side-out team, side-out bench try and help their team with encouragement. Tokarenko and Busquets still on the bench. Tight set, Mully into the block. Pancake by Simmons, but the ball lands directly on her. Couldn't quite roll out the way. Priestley not wanting to dive into her setter and risk an injury.
Well, you see both Priestley and Diaz-Infante ready and then force themselves to stop because they realise the ball's landing right on Simmons' head.
Simmons' health more important than 1 point. Maybe not if that was 15-14 in set number 5.
Yeah, but as of right now, keep the setter alive.
Mully leaves it a little bit long. Rare service error by Carla Mully, just the 13th of the season. And the Rebels still holding on to this slender 1/2 point lead. Appreciate all of you joining us. Get your thoughts in the comments as well. Early predictions for MVP as well for the game. Let us know your thoughts as Alexis Diaz-Infante forces Yilmaz onto the back foot. Tight set. Diaz-Infante with the dig. Simmons there to Haney. Yilmaz one hand on it, but not enough. And Yilmaz screams in frustration.
And look at this. Diaz-Infante finding so many passes. Haney obviously taking over, really causing problems through the middle, but Diaz-Infante and Haney both really doing bits and pieces for their team, kind of putting the effort in their backpack and carrying them through.
Ace by Diaz-Infante. Look at the roar of emotion. Hands on knees for Mark Kontopoulos, and the Essex Rebels forced the timeout for side out. 18-14, and maybe, just maybe, we are going 5, AJ.
Yeah, I think Mark's going to have to work some serious magic, because if Essex Rebels make as little errors as they did in the last set and then just side out ruthlessly, they have got this set in the bag. They're 4 points ahead. Obviously, they just need to hold a bit of service pressure, and then when it changes, find a side out immediately. They minimize their errors and maximize their effort, and they'll take us to 5, and they know that's the dream zone.
You can just see some words of encouragement, just settle potentially some nerves as well. You see there, Sydney Booster giving some words of encouragement to her side as well. Obviously, missing out, having torn her ACL earlier in the season. Great to see her back around the team. She's not been able to be with the team as much as she would have liked. As Tokarenko is rejected by Haney, gets the chest bump from Diaz Infante. That's a monster AJ out of a timeout.
And look at this, they're trying to ice Diaz Infante, but it doesn't matter when you've got a middle at the net doing damage like that. Julia Haney and Diaz Infante, as we've said, dragging the team kicking and screaming through the last set and what looks to be this set.
Wonder what the Mallory Eagles and Lionhearts teams are making of this opposite us as Jagielska finds Shamblin. Perfect pass. Haney not quite a great agreement, but free ball after the Carla Mully dig. Long ball out to Borovec, who gets rejected by Alice Jagielska. Alice Jagielska being one of the more consistent options to side out in set 3 and 4.
And look at the closeout. Just really traces where that ball's going and then leaves it and watches Shamblin. Just finds her, lines up body to body, keeps that symmetry and a press.
Low serve by Russell. Russell and Mully getting themselves mixed up. Who was going 5, who was going 6. But Mully plays it to Jagielska. Good positioning by Taya Shamblin on the back line. Diaz Infante pipe finds the back line. It's called out, but the whole crowd think it's in. What's the call?
Well, I don't know what you think.
It's in. Good.
It's in. Good.
Overruled by the referee. But you know it's right when the whole crowd is shouting in from opposite, and we can hear it through our headphones.
Yeah. And Mark just kind of shrugged and pointed at the line judge.
Tokarenko gets mixed up on service. He gets it back, goes down the line over Diaz Infante.
As we
Great
said,
adjustment, Yulia Tokarenko.
It was more of an adjustment from the setter, I'd say. I mean, the pass was bad. And then, yeah, it doesn't matter though. Tokarenko, she's not passed the best, but she is such an offensive threat. You don't need to pass perfection.
Simmons. Diaz Infante pipe. Good dig by Yilmaz. It's going to be a tight set. Tokarenko into the block to recycle. Scandali's going to get there. Diaz Infante with the 4-meter line defense. Shambling into the hands of Busquets and Scandali. And Rebels closing in. Emily Priestley.
Shamblin doing really well to test Scandali there. She's not seeing much of her presence in the air, and she just kind of takes a big swing into that outside hand and gives her a test, says, all right, well, show me what you can do. And obviously finds the answer. And 21-16 go Essex, so I think we're going to 5.
Emily Priestley definitely not going to play front row in this spot. So Kath Tolley back into the lineup, having been a serving sub. As Busquets into the block of Tolley and Simmons. Tolley wants it, doesn't get it. Shamblin does and fires it over Jagielska.
Shamblin, I'm very impressed. She's getting in her groove. I thought she was in a major funk, but look at this swing. The turn and burn down that line. Boom. Doesn't need to hit it steep. Sees Jagielska kind of run short, and unreal. Yeah, and we...
Haney low over the net. Mully not expecting it. But Tokarenko, another big swing. Yulia Tokarenko taking a couple of breathers to try and keep something in the legs and arms for set 5. And
but
Yulia through there.
Such a crisp snap at the top. She can be in a bit of power saver mode if she knows or thinks it's going to 5. And she can just find these really sharp, nasty angles.
Diaz Infante down the line right to Yilmaz. Mully gave the line on that one. Tolly with a little block touch yet again. Going to scoop it over, and Alice Jagielska was moving to her left, and the ball went to the right, and Rebels are 2 points away.
That's just good. That's good awareness from Tolly, and a great spot in terms of being a middle blocker and middle hitter, and sees, maybe she does, maybe she doesn't see Alice Jagielska's early movement, but she just hits a really ideal spot and obviously finds success.
Chelsea Simmons trying to close it out with a couple of points on serve. Skandali, long high set to Mully, who finds the line.
Yeah, and good sportsmanship from Alex Chinnery there. He's given a little point. He said, yeah, that was in.
Kerry Millard will replace Busquets for the serve.
But Alex Chinnery looking cool, calm and composed now in this fourth set.
Well, it makes a difference from the end of set 2, right?
Yeah, well.
Albeit I don't know if I can ever call him cool or composed.
He's looking at it now. He's pretty chilled. He's pretty chilled.
He'll be, in the back of his mind, he'll be thinking about where you go set 5 as Millard with the ace, low hanging serve over the net.
And that's why you
the
bring
dangers of Kerry Millard.
That's why you bring this young lady on. That's why you have a pinch server, and she doesn't fold under the pressure. The heat of the moment. Finds a big, big ace. Can she keep the run going?
Borovec gets to that one on one knee. Shamblin going to roll it over the block. Jagielska covers it, but they're going to call
a lift, I believe, is called.
No, I think Skandali was the wrong side of the net, but Carla Mully's going over to get clarification. But to be honest, likelihood it was going to be a free ball for the Rebels anyway, with that second touch going backwards way away from the 3 meter line as double sub. Skandali giving the signal to Russell, and it's Taya Shamblin.
Ooh, big smart tip from Skandali. Unfloppable in the moment of pressure. Back to the baseline she'll go, but 4 set points to save.
Skandali, not a lot of serves on the season, but 93% success. She's going to make sure the ball goes in, and she gets nearly ace number 7. Shamblin was scrambling, but Diaz Infante gets the block touch, gets the winner. And ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, buckle up. For the first time, we are going 5.
Huge. And this is the danger zone for SIDEOUT. We will see what happens. I know who my favourite is. I don't know who Michael's favourite is, but this is major danger. The toss about to happen.
As both captains coming up for the toss. Unfriendly handshake in set 5. We'll see what happens. SIDEOUT win the toss.
Again.
Yilmaz 2 of 2 on the call.
Hey, that's insane stat line. 2 for 2.
Reminder, for those of you new at home, change ends after 8 points. Yilmaz will tell Mark, I believe, that they are on receive. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break and prepare as we go to 5. Team outside Polonia, Essex Rebels, coming right up, set number 5. Welcome back to Crystal Palace. The sun's starting to sneak through as we prepare for set number 5. Team side out Polonia won the first 2, but Essex Rebels clawed their way back in and deservedly took set 4, 25-20, and we are going to 5. AJ, side out, so much experience, they won't be overly phased, but they've got to have a turnaround. They haven't found success offensively outside of Carl and Mully, really, late in this game. What do they need to do to win this game?
I would love to say I think they can, but I've been behind Essex from the third set. To win this would be insane for side out. But Essex, as we said, are just so much more fantastic when we go the distance, aren't they? Indeed,
and since we resumed volleyball after the little break that we won't mention 5 years ago, these sides have met 9 times prior to today. Side out have the head-to-head 7-2, but the 2 Essex wins, including a month ago, which made side out play the Essex Rebels today, Essex are 1 in 5. When it's gone 5, side out have never won in 5 against the Essex Rebels. So the momentum, the stats, the history, all with the Essex Rebels.
And side out will know this as well. The whole of the side out stuff will know this.
They'll know the March game. They probably won't know the that deeper stats. That's gone way back into the archives. I do need to shout out Rob Payne for helping with that information as well. Starting set 6s, Chamberlain, Simmons, Weldon, Borovec, Tolley and Diaz-Infante for Essex, Aiken, Busquets, Mully, Jagielska, Yilmaz and Tokarenko. First serve reception by Tokarenko. She will get it back off the block touch. Simmons on the 3.5 meter line. Diaz-Infante, sharp angle, well played by Aiken, out of system. Tokarenko goes down the line and misses. Oh, they're going to call a block touch. They're going to call a touch though, overall on the touch. So point to side out. Get your thoughts in the chat. We see some of you with your support as well. Appreciate you joining us. Game 2 of Final Fours weekend. Borovec down the line. The winner will play Mallory Eagles tomorrow in the final. The loser will take the bronze medal game against Lionhearts Venerius.
They'll both be playing a fresher team tomorrow as well, having both gone, these teams going to 5.
And the extra 2.5 hours rest, not that that means a ton.
But small margins at this level.
And that's the advantage of being a 1 seed as Tolley serves it halfway to the baseline. The crowd well into this one. We hope you appreciate joining us. Reminder, 2 men's games coming up in the Dynamic Men's Super League as well. As Merv Aiken, who's been the best server today for side out, as she has all season, can't get a side out as Haney goes down the middle.
Unreal.
Perfect textbook offense.
Julia Haney, we got Jessica Haney in the chat, buzzing her up as well. But look at this turn, little inside out action, dodging that block. Julia Haney did not come to play. Which means strictly business from the middle of the court.
Alexis Diaz-Infante, Yilmaz, slightly off court. That's a rough set by Aiken. No touch by the Rebels. That's going to be 4 touches. And Essex take the first lead of set number 5 for them. 3 plays 2. Diaz-Infante halfway into the net. Chamberlain, Borovec, hands on the block by Jagielska and Russell. Mully can't find a good hitting lane. Borovec goes roll, well read by Aiken, out of system though. Jagielska into the block and Weldon can't quite get there to a left. Reminder, both teams will change ends when someone gets to 8. Slide for Haney, that's tight, but squeezes it through the block of Russell and Mully.
And again, Haney, bread and butter on that slide, just so adaptable, so dynamic, can kind of take off at any point and find the answer. And that block having to shift around really, really causing issues.
Jagielska, that's a monster swing by the 18-year-old. We definitely need to see that one twice.
Look at that slight adjustment in. Block still hasn't closed, and not taking the high road, taking the low road and burying it.
Abby Russell finds Weldon. Diaz Infante from the pipe leaves it long. But we've seen Essex go to that time and time again. First time we've really seen an error from Diaz Infante down the pipe. And the side out bench, Mark Contopoulos trying to get his troops fired up. As Abby Russell, great reception by Weldon. Haney slide again.
Hey, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Haney, just really nasty, taking big control in these last two. We got Tolly back on the court now as Haney back to the baseline.
Well, the one thing you definitely can't fix is running a slide if you're in the back court. But what it probably means is Haney's going to get to the net probably 11 or 10 points into set 5, depending on how quick teams side out. As Busquets with a monster swing into where the Weldon would normally be. Huge by the 18-year-old who's had a tremendous game as well.
Yeah, just top of the reach, like really, really high on that swing. Welcome to those of you who have just joined. First 5-setter of the weekend. And it is all action.
Back set, Diaz Infante has to roll over. And
Unreal.
Busquets coming off the net.
That's the
just
second
gets
time.
crossed up.
Second time she's found success on that roll shot. She uses it very, very sparingly, which is so smart.
Middle's trying to play defense in unusual positions coming off the net. As Chelsea Simmons, leader in aces for this Rebels team. Can she have some magic late in set 5? Mully says no, but she'll get it back on the 3-meter line. Block touch, takes it away from Weldon, who puts her hand up, and we will change ends at 8-6 side out. And AJ, would you say this is where side out's depth is huge now? Because you get the same amount of subs in set 5 as you do set 1 to 4. So you can really go deep into your bench and impact with changes.
Well, yeah, I think it's an interesting point, but it's all about in the 5th set, do you want to make these really huge, deep changes? But as you said, their bench depth is so crazy that Mark could effectively change most of the hitters and have a really good time. But I think the stress of this 5th set, unless they make a really bad error, he wants to keep them as gelled and firing as they can.
So Carla Mully, definitely not rusty now after 5 sets. Can't stop Kat Tolley on the middle attack.
And look at this England player in Kat Tolley, just great run, turn and burn, kind of contorting her body in the air to get around that block.
I think Julia Haney struggling with the heat a little bit in here. She's got an ice pack on her neck, trying to hide a little bit from the sun that's creeping through onto the Rebels side of the court. As Shamblin to Yilmaz. Yilmaz has been so quiet, but sometimes that's a good thing from a libero. As Tokarenko gets the block touch from Diaz Infante and Tolley.
And you called it, here comes that bench depth. It is hot in this hall as well. The sun beaming in. Mark Contopoulos just so happy to bring in that pinch server. Knows he might bag an ace or two, and that will really set them up for...
Weldon, perfect pass. Back set, Diaz Infante on the cross court. Huge side out. You get arguably side out's best server off.
And look at Diaz Infante. Feed the hot hand.
Priestley for Tolley. That gets Haney into the front court.
This is where things could start to shift.
But Rebels need something on serve. They're trailing by 1 net. 2 if you count the side out. So they need to find 1 or 2 points here down the stretch on serve. Can Emily Priestley be the person? Mully, great pass, slide for Russell. They're going to call 2 touches on the set. Mark Kontopoulos is mad.
Unreal. That being called at this critical moment in the 5th set is outrageous.
Side out, and Emily Priestley gets the point on serve. Can she get a second one? No aces on the season for Emily Priestley. Just 10 serve attempts going into the weekend, but she's been used well today. Forces Mully deep. That's beyond the baseline. This is going to be a tough pass for Yilmaz. Gets Tokarenko in a position to make the swing, and she beats Priestley. Yulia Tokarenko stepping up when it matters.
And look at this. I did say earlier she might struggle with the length of these sets, but doesn't look like it. She's finding answers all the time. She's really pushing the boundary with her stare downs, though.
Mark Kontopoulos with some instruction. I wonder if they're saying get ready for the slide. We've seen Haney go to it twice late. Borovec, perfect pass. Haney down the middle. Good dig by Aiken. It's going to be a free ball. Diaz-Infante puts her name on it. Do they go back to Haney? They don't. They go to Borovec. Off the hands of Russell.
Big play from Essex Rebels.
We are tied 10 points apiece. Race to 5. Reminder, got to win by 2 clear points. Alexis Diaz-Infante. Aiken, back set. Tokarenko, roll shot. Well picked up by Simmons, but out of system. Borovec to Mully. Jagielska with the roll shot. Perfect by the youngster.
So smart, bringing that beach action in, Magic number 15, hanging high. 11-10 up with Tokarenko.
No serving sub. Maybe we see a DS after this point. We'll see, but Yulia Tokarenko's had a huge game. Goes roll serve, Shamblin scrambling, but gets there. Borovec, cross court, Mully, Aiken, Yilmaz free ball. Haney off the hands, great defense by side out. Jagielska wins the point. Side out, 3 points away. Timeout, Alex Chinnery and the Rebels.
Still got a lot of support in the chat for the Rebels. Can they do it? Show your love and appreciation if you think they can. But with side out 2 points ahead, looking to break the curse. Can they do it?
Reminder, the winner will play Mallory Eagles, the loser, bronze medal game against Lionhearts Runarius. Mallory winning that one 3-0 in the Mari Women's Super League. First semi-final. We've had a pulsating fire. I said on the podcast with Luke Wilshire, this could go any way. As Tokarenko floats serve, Borovec. Diaz-Infante back row. Aiken with the dig. Yilmaz. Jagielska finds Shamblin. Essex need this point desperately. Borovec off the net cord. Rebels need the defense, and they get it through Haney, who stops Carla Mully. That is a monster block.
Huge play. Look at the patience from Haney. Makes the read early, just traces her pin hitter on the way out. Sticks on Simmons' hip and finds a big piece of it.
But Rebels trailing by 2. They need something on serve.
Trailing by 1.
Was 2. They need something on serve, because if not, if side out perfectly, they win the game. Borovec, Tokarenko, not quite an ace, but it's a free ball Rebels. Simmons again going to Diaz-Infante, not the right connection. Hands on hips from Alex Chinnery. Jagielska, Weldon with a dig, and Diaz-Infante can't quite track it down. Here come more potential subs. I think.
Unfortunately, that pass in transition from Weldon wasn't good enough on a free ball to put the whole team out of system, and that could be the difference for the game.
So double subs. Busquets into the front court.
And Hayashi for a DS.
Hayashi as a DS. Busquets with a little kiss for Alice Jagielska. Side out. 2 points away from returning to the gold medal match for the second year in a row. Can they do it? Haney, ball goes long, but not by a lot. That was a perfectly timed read by Carla Mully.
Haney's done that a couple of times this game, though. When she sees the block, she gets up and just absolutely drills it into the hands, hoping it will come off.
So Julia Haney will go back to serve. Tolly into the front court. So Haney is, unless this goes crazy, crazy deep, like 18 points, Haney is done as a front row hitter. She will serve. 84% success on the season, 16 aces. Oh, so 18 aces going into the weekend. Mully, perfect pass receive. Busquets tips, Simmons will get there. Haney's going to set. Chamberlain finds the line, down the line. Aiken forcing the defense from a DS. Hayashi, and we are 13 apiece. First to 2 wins this game, AJ. Timeout, side out.
Magic number 15, as you said, Michael, but
maybe 16,
I don't know. I
maybe
don't
17.
think.
Oh, perfect song choice. Can't lie. As Free From Desire getting warmed up by DJ Katz. It feels like a pro Essex crowd, AJ.
It is on the live stream, but as I said, magic number currently 15, but with teams on this level, the teams of this level, they will be making the break, and it looks like they are going to go the distance.
So,
a lot of support for Essex in the chat. Rebels looking like they're fighting their way out of a sticky situation.
Yilmaz, Hayashi and Mully, the serve receive unit. It's Julia Haney on the service line. She'll go to Hayashi down the middle. Aiken back set. Jagielska, Borovic, huge dig. Shamblin goes for the block touch. Recycle but out of system. Yilmaz is going to set Mully. And she misses the sideline. Match point, Rebels. Huge dig by Leia Borovic.
One more to go. Could be Essex just have turned the tide.
Timeout again by SIDEOUT. They're going to try and freeze Haney. The experience just saying calm and composed. AJ, where does the ball go? No Tokarenko on court.
It's Jagielska.
You think the ball goes to Alice? I don't hate it.
Yeah, Jagielska. She's been a bit up and down, but as far as it's shown this set, she has been a pretty comfortable point winner. I would feed the hot hand. What a roller coaster this game has been. Can Rebels find their way to another 5th set victory?
They took the league regular season title from SIDEOUT on the penultimate weekend of the season with a 5th set. Haney, Aiken, back set to Jagielska off the block. Rebels are going to have a chance. Simmons, Kat Tolley finds the floor. Big. Rebels pull it off.
Huge, absolutely huge from Rebels. And look, pain from SIDEOUT. They have just lost another 5-setter against Essex. Essex into the gold medal match. SIDEOUT can still podium, but that has got to be heartbreaking. They were up 12-10. 12-10 up in the 5th. We're SIDEOUT.
Julia Haney able to side out. She was huge in the 5th set, but you've got to credit the Essex resilience. That second set was a horror show, and to mentally regroup and just claw their way back in 1 point at a time, you've got to give credit to Alex Chinnery and the resilience of that group.
Well, it's as we said, isn't it? SIDEOUT are cheaters if Essex Rebels are wolves. Patient, diligent, and hunting with pure, relentless stamina.
So the women's final, Essex Rebels, Mallory Eagles, and then the bronze medal game, SIDEOUT and Lionhearts Vilnius. And yes, you've been Essex heavy in set 5 because of the comeback, but you've got to give a lot of flowers to SIDEOUT. What a game of volleyball they put in. As we see the comments flooding in for the Rebels.
I feel like we've got maybe a slight bias in the chat towards Rebels.
Really? Where did you get that from?
Just a tiny bit. But what a game from Essex Rebels. That is, yeah, the resilience is ridiculous. It looked like at the end, Diaz-Infante and Haney dragging the team, kicking and screaming through the third and fourth set, and then some big digs, big plays, and again, just that patience and trust in their game brought them that victory. Unreal. Big foot in the door, kicked it wide open, said gold medal match, here we come.
And SIDEOUT, how does this team regroup now tomorrow? You've got to go against Lionhearts, whose team you scrimmaged against a week ago. Try and regroup and go again, but it's not easy coming off a 5-setter the wrong way.
Yeah, coming off a 5-setter the wrong way, they are really, really going to find it tough to mentally regroup. But then Lionhearts got destroyed in 3. So who's got the harder mental regroup? I would argue SIDEOUT. But, yeah, crazy game.
As Alex Chinnery taking time, we're going to hope he gets a move on because we want to bring our post-game interview up here and we'll reflect on what was crazy semi-final. AJ, I'm going to give you a quick breather because you're on a double-header duty. Obviously, you've got London Giants coming up against Mallory in Game 4, but the Essex men, after watching that roller coaster, got to regroup themselves and they'll play the Newcastle Knights. So AJ, appreciate you joining us. We'll take a quick break and we'll bring our game MVP up for a post-game interview ever so shortly.
Appreciate it.
Well, good luck. We'll see you tomorrow as we play the Mallory Eagles in our final. Well done to the Essex Rebels. One more time round of applause for all of our semi-finalists. Our next semi-final is about to get underway. We're going to be introducing the teams onto the floor very shortly.
We'll just...
Alrighty.
Alexis Diaz-Infante, how did you pull that off?
I think it's just grit and hard work. You know, we're down in the second set. We know that we're down. We come back in that third set and you just bet on each other. To be very honest, we went in saying, bet on yourself and bet on your teammates, and I think that's what's happened.
And talk about that end of set. Set 2 was a disaster. We all know that.
Yeah.
But talk about what the words were. That was a very long time out by Alex. Going to reset. What were the words spoken that realigned this group just mentally to attack set number 3?
really establishing that we've been in a similar situation and that we can do it again, right? So trusting all the past versions of ourselves that have gone to 5-setters or 4-setters and that have worked really hard and bringing that back into, and also making sure that we wipe the slate clean. A new set is a new set and you can't remember the last one.
And what you talk about the resiliency of this group, you talked about it with me on broadcast a few weeks ago, but to claw back and come up with ways to win points that weren't necessarily the cleanest, but how much is that impactful for you? Because obviously there was a clear game plan. They wanted to get the ball to you, but everyone else just chipped in big moments.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is there's not just one person on the court. There's 6 people working hard. So whoever gets the ball, it's their job to do their best with it and make it better. And if not, we just keep fighting to try to get the point.
And for you, big game, 20-plus kills from what we had up in the commentary booth. How much have you grown with this team into the position? You saw the ball late in the set, but you knew the ball was coming to you late down the game.
I mean, throughout the season, I came in as a middle blocker coming into an opposite position. I was a middle for 8 years, and this is my first year being opposite, and I just can't be more grateful and blessed to have teammates that have embraced me and who have helped me grow and become more aggressive throughout the season.
Deep breath, reset. You got a gold medal game tomorrow. How does this group reset mentally and forget about this and all the highs and reset on trying to beat Mallory for the first time?
Really, it's about refueling, right? Getting water, getting salt, getting sugar, make sure we're eating, making sure we're taking time to be together and getting sleep, and really just making sure you do what you need to do to prepare yourself for tomorrow's game, whatever that is for you.
Well, I'm so sure you'll give the men some support. You probably put them through a roller coaster, but congratulations, a big 5-set victory, and we'll see you in the gold medal game tomorrow.
Much. See you tomorrow. Thanks.
There's the thoughts of Alexis Diaz-Infante.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be back. Next up, Essex Rebel Men, Newcastle Knights here from Crystal Palace.